Florida field for this battle between the Seminoles of Florida State, whom you see coming onto the field right there under head coach Bobby Bowden and trying to wrap up an unbeaten regular season as they head on toward the Orange Bowl, where they will be facing the Big 8 champion, either Nebraska or Oklahoma, depending on what happens tomorrow in the Midlands. And their opponents today wearing orange jerseys for the first time ever. The University of Florida Gators, you see the record on the year, an unfortunate one. No wins, 8 losses, 1 tie under their new head coach, Charlie Pell. And the Gators hoping to salvage a measure of satisfaction from what has so far been a very disappointing season, believe me. For these people, a victory over Florida State would be big satisfaction indeed. Hello, I'm Jim Lampley. It has been more than a year since Florida State University lost a football game. It has been more than a year since the University of Florida won one. During that time, a lot of things have happened. Charlie Pell has arrived at Florida to take over and begin rebuilding the Gator football program. And Bobby Bowden and the Seminoles have continued what is now one of the most unusual and interesting success stories in all of college football. A success story we wanted to show to all of you across the entire nation. Here with me today to watch the Seminoles and the Gators, a former quarterback who can still throw it pretty well in our touch football game, Lee Grosscup. And Cupper, this should be your kind of ball game. I think we will definitely see the ball in the air a lot.
You know, we could see a record number of passes. Florida started throwing the ball recently with Larry Ochab. Today, their backup quarterback, John L. Brown, will be playing at the tailback position, so we could see him throwing the run pass. Now, you know about Florida State already. They have a tandem of quarterbacks who have really become a household word in college football, and I'm speaking, of course, about Wally Woodham and Jimmy Jordan. Now, between those two guys, they have combined for over 7,000 yards of career total offense.
Now finishing their 3rd year of sharing the Florida State quarterback job, Wally Woodham and Jimmy Jordan, a fascinating story. They went to the same high school, Leon High School in Tallahassee, Florida. They are fraternity brothers. They have been roommates on the road. They are alike in so many ways. And yesterday, I talked to them about the unique situation in which they share the quarterbacking duties at Florida State. Wally, you and Jimmy have had a fascinating experience these past several years. Have you ever thought back that perhaps you would have been happier being at another school where you could have had the quarterbacking job all to yourself rather than to have shared it with him?
Well, not really. It's been a good situation at Florida State. Over the last 3 years, we've only lost 5 ball games, and I've really enjoyed it at Florida State. And, of course, I'm from Tallahassee, Florida, and I'm kind of glad to be staying at home.
Is there a positive aspect to the sharing of the quarterback job in the sense that you don't feel the pressure to have to do everything on your own? You know that he's there if something isn't going right for you?
Yeah, there's that security there for that. And also, it's just that it's worked out for our team. You know, when one guy's not doing it, the other guy's come in and done the job, and it's worked out the last 3 years, and we're just glad it has.
This week, you're starting. What does that mean to you?
Well, it means, you know, that we've been starting on and off all along, and my job is to go out and get it started and get it going, and Jimmy could come on, or I don't know, I might go all the way. It's just what Coach Bowden feels.
Jimmy, this weekend you're in the situation in which you've been so frequently. Wally will start the ball game. What are you thinking about? Do you sit on the bench and watch and wait for when your opportunity is going to come?
Yes, so, you know, I'll be, try to be ready when, if I get called upon. I got to start the LSU game. It was televised. And Coach Bowden told us he thought it'd be fair if Wally started this one since it'll be on TV. I think that's good. We're winning, and that's what everybody really wants. And, I just hope Wally all the luck.
Has the competition between the two of you affected your friendship at any time in any way?
We've never had any problems whatsoever. We just try to make it a team effort, and if he can do well, let him do it. If I can, let me do it. It's just, like I said, the main thing we want to do is win, and we've never had any fusses or fights about this, It could be, if one of us were really sour about the situation, but we're not.
A decision typical of the way Bobby Bowden has handled the two quarterbacks all along. Wally Woodham will start today because Jimmy Jordan started the LSU game earlier in the season, which was telecast to most of the country. The two teams have played 21 times. Florida has won 16 of them. Since in the 1950s, the Florida State legislature decreed that they must begin playing each other. However, Florida State has won the last 2, and they are the dog which is on top now. Florida will try to reverse things when we come back. You heard Lee Grosscup say that freshman reserve quarterback John L. Brown would be playing at tailback today for Florida. He has also been selected to return the opening kickoff for the Gators. And back to kick it for Florida State is number 17, Bill Capice, a junior from Miami who handles only the kickoff chores for the Seminoles. The field goal kicker is another man. So here's Capice to start it off. All the way to the back of the end zone, and Janelle Brown will down it there. Here are the young men who will be on the offensive line for the Gators. Chris Faulkner, a walk-on freshman tight end, an outstanding athlete. Bill Bennick at left tackle, and 2 freshmen will start next to Bennick. Dan Plonk from Merritt Island, Florida, a freshman at left guard. Next to him, also from Merritt Island, freshman John Redmond at center, who has a bad thumb. Wally Huff is the right guard, an experienced player. Joe Wickline, perhaps the strongest blocker at the line of scrimmage, is at right tackle. On first down, the Gators are in a spread formation with 4 wide receivers. Setback, Terry Williams goes in motion, and he catches the pass from Larry Ochab, and you can see how quickly the Florida State defense reacts as Williams is dumped behind the line of scrimmage. Larry Ochab is the starting quarterback for Florida. He is a walk-on junior. Janelle Brown, freshman from Gainesville, starting today at tailback. Terry Williams is the fullback, a workman-like fullback. Kurt Garrett, a good split end, and the best athlete on the offense is this man, flanker Chris Collinsworth, a high school All-America quarterback from Titusville, Florida. On second down and 13 yards to go. The Gators try the middle of the line, and Seminole Arthur Scott was there to stop Terry Williams after a pickup of 2 yards. Now it will be third down 10. You look at the defensive line for Florida State. The man to watch there, number 50, Ron Simmons, the nose guard, one of the very best defensive linemen in the United States. And this is an outstanding secondary for Florida State. Watch Butler, 21, and Bonasort, 42, the free safety, who has 8 interceptions this year. On third down, 3 wide receivers. Collinsworth comes in motion back toward quarterback Ochab, and the pass is complete. Kurt Garrett, the split end, had the football out near the 40-yard line, but dropped it. Yet the officials are going to rule a completion, and that Garrett lost the ball out of bounds.
I think they're going to say that it's a good call. I believe that Garrett has possession here as he's running an out pattern. Double coverage over on the other side on Collinsworth, and here is Garrett, who we saw 2 weeks ago catching a lot of passes. He does have possession, loses possession, and then it goes out of bounds.
First down for Florida, and you see Ron Simmons, the sensational Florida State nose guard, smothering the Florida running back Carl Prelow before the play could begin.
Ron Simmons, perhaps the finest nose guard in America right now, and he's only a junior. He has 4.5 speed in the 40-yard dash, awesome upper body strength. He bench presses 535 pounds. He probably will be the front runner along with Hugh Green next year for the Outland Trophy.
Lee, you hear so much about the quarterbacks, but that man may be the most important part of the Florida State success story. Second down, 18. Incomplete. Bobby Butler, the cornerback, was right there with Kurt Garrett. And Bobby Butler is a heck of a cornerback. Number 21, 5'11", 164 pounds from Delray Beach. We may see him matched a lot man-on-man today against Chris Collinsworth.
21 against 21. He would be giving away 5 inches in height. However, they're both about the same speed. Exceptional speed. 4.4 in the 40-yard dash. Bobby Butler, perhaps the best athlete in the secondary. And as you pointed out, J.L., a good one.
You see Bobby Bowden on the sidelines. Ball is short of the 32. They must get to the 49 for a first down. Pass is dropped. Ochab was throwing over the middle, trying to hit running back Carl Prelow, number 53. Right there with him was Paul Pirowski, a linebacker, and the Florida State defense, after giving up the 1 first down on the completion, Ochab to Garrett folds. Conover back to punt for Florida, and deep to receive for Florida State. Is Gary Henry. Henry will watch the ball and takes a gator roll and is down at the 20-yard line. 48-yard punt, and we look at the men who will line up along the offensive line for Florida State. Tight end Grady King will also see Sam Childers. Lanier, the best blocker at the line of scrimmage. Good as an outstanding guard. They're very strong on the left side. John Madden replaced Gil Wesley at center when Wesley was injured. The only injury the Seminoles have suffered of any consequence this year. Butch at right guard, Brannon at right tackle. We repeat the starting quarterback today, Wally Woodham. Can't expect to see Jimmy Jordan later on. First down from the 20. Fake to Whiting. And tight tight end Brady King steps out of bounds at the 26-yard line as Woodham's first pass is complete. Doc Lucky ran him out of bounds. You look at Woodham and Jordan, who share the quarterbacking duties. Michael Whiting, a converted fullback, is the starter at tailback. Mark Lyles, the heart of the FSU running game from his fullback position. A freshman split end, Hardis Johnson, will also see Sam Platt at that position. And there's the primary receiver, the main receiving threat for the Seminoles, Jackie Flowers. Second down, 4 yards to go. This is Lyles. Number 57, Tim Golden, defensive end for Florida, stopped Lyles near the line of scrimmage, and they'll have a third down play coming up. You see the defensive line for Florida. Most consistent player there is Robin Fisher, but Lucky is the outstanding athlete. And Yancey Sutton is a great story at defensive end. Linebacking situation for Florida has been unsettled because of injuries. They're missing David Little today. And Sonny Gilliam is a freshman starting at cornerback, number 43. He's got a tough assignment. On third down and 3. Woodham is Doc Lucky. Number 72, Doc Lucky, a junior defensive tackle from Fort Pierce, the strongest man on the field, 10-yard loss.
Let's take a look at Doc Lucky, number 72, as Jim Lampley just pointed out, the strongest man on the team, who was demoted to a second-string player because of attitude problems earlier this year, has regained the starting role, and there you see some of that awesome strength and quickness.
Fourth down as Florida State fails to convert on their first third down opportunity. Ron Stark, number 3, goes back to punt inside his 5-yard line. Collinsworth, number 21, is deep for Florida. Stark, the left-footed punter, gets it away. Collinsworth waves for the fair catch and lets it roll, and it takes a Florida State roll inside the 25 to the 23-yard line before Gary Futch downs it for the Seminoles. So we're early in the first quarter, no score. The Gators will have the football when we come back. The 60-yard punt by Ron Stark of Florida State, his longest of the year. So now Florida will start the offense from the 23-yard line. You look at Larry Ochab, a walk-on junior from Orlando who took over the quarterbacking duties 3 weeks ago against Auburn. Gators have had trouble on offense this year.
But he has made a difference. As you pointed out, against Auburn, he threw for 269 yards, and he has given them something going through the air. That is something they did not have prior to that. As we look over at Wally Woodham, who was sacked, and that was only the 9th sack of the year.
Florida State offensive line has generally done a great job of protecting Woodham and Jordan. On first down, this is Collinsworth. Ochab's completion to Collinsworth moves the football only to the 25. The pickup of Tuitt will be second down 8. They've gotten the football to him, though, and they had trouble doing that 2 weeks ago against Georgia when we covered them.
2 weeks ago, he got almost exclusively double coverage, sometimes triple coverage. Today, we may see him going man up with Bobby Butler, who also wears number 21.
There are the figures on the year for Collinsworth. The give is to Freelow. And out there at the corner, number 39, Reggie Herrick, junior linebacker from Titusville, met him, dropped him for a loss of 2. It will be third down 10 for the Gators.
Third, an obvious pass situation. Let's see if they do go once again to their best athlete on the field, who is Chris Collinsworth. Collinsworth, who has 4.4 speed in the 40-yard dash, and a guy who can really hurt you a lot of different ways.
Garrett is to the bottom of the screen. Collinsworth is to the top. He comes in motion back toward the line of scrimmage. Ochab throws behind Garrett. He was under pressure, and no one was open.
Garrett running a sideline route that time. Collinsworth was the man clearing out. The protection was there, but he threw it away.
Ivory Joe Hunter with the good coverage on Garrett. Now Gary Henry is deep to receive for Florida State as again. Bill Conover gets ready to punt it for Florida. First punt traveled 46 yards. Gary Henry. And Henry, by waiting for the ball to bounce, gave the Florida coverage a chance to get downfield. Jeremy Menlin was trying to block in front of him, but they could not open up a hole, and Florida State will start from the 38-yard line when we come back. Charlie Pell played lineman for Bear Bryant at Alabama, and the bulk of that career coaching record compiled at Jacksonville State and then at Clemson. Doc Luckey jumps offside for Florida, and so the Seminoles of Florida State are the beneficiaries of the first penalty of the ball game. And that will move the football to the 48.
Doc Luckey wants another little chunk of the quarterback.
Salivating after that first sack.
That's right.
So make it first down 5 now for FSU. Hardis Johnson is to the bottom of the screen. Jackie Flowers to the top. And Woodham wants Michael White. Into Gator territory, past the 40 to the 39-yard line. Chuck Hatch missed the tackle.
This is what Wally Woodham does so well, play action pass. He is better at the short stuff in the intermediate game and throwing to his backs. Here to tailback Michael Whiting, who Jim Lampley has really made a difference in their running game, and he's also effective as a receiver. He took over right after a game that I covered earlier this year against Virginia Tech, when by that time they had lost 2 of their tailbacks. You might want to amplify.
You look at Bobby Bowden along the sidelines. They have had trouble at the tailback position, losing Greg Ramsey and Holmes Johnson. This is Lyles. And the big fullback is inside the 30 to the 25-yard line. Doc Luckey dragged him down from behind. 14-yard pickup for Lyles. So another first down for FSU.
This part of their running game has not been weak, however. There's not much of a hole here, but he has been known to make his own holes. And that, of course, is big Mark Lyles, who is second in career rushing now for the Seminoles and has been a consistent ground gainer for them all year long.
You saw Juan Collins slow him down before Luckey dragged him down. This is first down for Florida State at the 26. That's Whiting, and he's just inside the 25 to the 24. Number 66 is Robin Fisher, the nose guard. This is what it looks like from down in the stands. Last home game of the year for Florida. Stadium here holds 64,000. They hope to have 72,000 seats by September 11, 1982, when they will be playing Southern Cal. Second down, 7 for Florida State. Give is to Lyles on the Statue of Liberty play, and a flag is down. Lyles was dropped for a yard loss. Yancey Sutton made the play, along with 49 Fernando Jackson, a freshman linebacker. And the penalty is apparently going to be an offside call against Florida State.
But there you saw a little bit of the sophistication of their passing attack. They have so many different ways that they can hurt you. There is the call right there. They do a lot of screens, a lot of draws. They use the Statue of Liberty play. They really vary their protection a lot. They use play-action passes, and, of course, they have an outstanding drop-back series. Pass protection has been one of the keys this year. As we pointed out, only 8 sacks coming into today's game, and that has given Wally Woodham and Jimmy Jordan the opportunity they have needed to pick defenses apart.
Third down 9. Hardis Johnson to the top of your screen. He's a freshman with speed. Jackie Flowers to the bottom, the wide side of the field. Woodham wants weak side to Hardis Johnson. Tim Golden, number 57, batted the ball down for Florida.
Tim Golden is a guy that Charlie Pell likes a lot, and he is very high on the potential of this defensive line. It was thought that the front 7 of Florida would be as good as any front 7 in the SEC, but they have been decimated this year by injuries.
They lost starting defensive tackle Steve Tanner. They lost starting defensive tackle David Galloway. They lost Yancey Sutton for several games. Now Dave Capellan is on to attempt a 41-yard field goal for the Seminoles. And this kick is low. Capellan was 13 of 18 in the field goal department before that one, making now 13 of 19 as holder Rick Stocksville was unable to get the ball in position, and Capellan hit it high.
Capellan already the career scoring leader for Florida State. Before this season even started, he has added to that, but that time he misconnected.
So Florida will have the football at what was the line of scrimmage, the 25-yard line. And the Seminoles have wasted the first scoring opportunity of the game. 3 wide receivers. Picked off. Number 51 is James Gilbert, a sophomore defensive tackle from Miami. He was the man who got the football after another Seminole had deflected it into the air.
Watch very carefully. You're going to see the ball tipped before Gilbert comes up with the interception. There is the tip right there. And here comes the key interception that Jim Lampley just spoke of. And now excellent field position for the Seminoles. Who got the tip?
Number 60, Scott McLean, a sophomore defensive end from Claremont, Florida, was the man who tipped it. A reserve defensive end is on this hot day. Bobby Bowden has already gone to some substitutions on defense. First down, Lyles. And Robin Fisher drags Lyles down as he gets inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. There is James Gilbert, one of 4 defensive tackles whom Bobby Bowden uses interchangeably on defense for Florida State. And the sophomore from Miami had his first interception of the year.
That is a rare experience for a defensive tackle to intercept the pass, and it shows on his face. He's happy.
He is the envy of all the other defensive linemen right now. Why couldn't it be me? Second down. 6 yards to go. Bill Williams to the bottom of the screen. Whiting in motion. And Woodham is hit. As he tried to release the ball, number 50, Yancey Sutton got there. Yancey Sutton, who also went to Tallahassee Leon High School, same place that Wally Woodham and Jimmy Jordan went to school. He had an enormous urge to play today, and he's coming back off of an injury, having missed 5 games just to play in this one.
Very inspirational story because Yancey is deaf. However, he lip reads very well. In fact, last year he apparently lip read a fake punt in a ball game against Georgia Tech.
Wally Woodham only 2 out of 5 so far in the ball game for 23 yards. Third down 6. They must get the ball to the 8-yard line for a first down. Woodham doesn't like what he sees on the Florida defense and draws a delay of game penalty. So far, the Florida defensive line has been very active, much more so than I think the Seminoles had expected them to be.
Possibly because of the reemergence of Doc Luckey, the man who they felt would be the best man along that front wall. Certainly, he is the physically strongest. He has a bench press of over 500 pounds, and that does not mean that he bench presses a 500-pound bench. I wanted to clarify that because someone asked me about that recently.
Third down, 11 now. And again, Woodham is dumped. That time, he had time, but nobody was open downfield. Tim Golden got there first. Robin Fisher followed him.
Well, if we were going to do any of the keys today, I would have said that the key for Florida was to establish a pass rush. They would have to do that to curtail this highly sophisticated passing attack of Florida State. So far, they have done that and done it very well.
This is the identical spot from which Davy Capellan missed just a minute and a half ago. Only 10 sacks this season, 2 of them so far here in the first quarter. Florida State is now 0 for 4 on third down conversions, and in preparation for this field goal, they have called timeout. Seminoles brought 10,000 fans over from Tallahassee, and now Dave Capellan will be trying from 41 yards out to give FSU the lead. This one's good. 6 minutes, 23 seconds left in the first quarter. And after the interception by defensive tackle James Gilbert, Florida State was unable to move the offense, but they pick up the field goal by Dave Capellan and lead it 3-0.
There is a man who is having an incredible year. He recently had his 50th birthday. 30th wedding anniversary. He has a brand new contract that you might want to talk more about. And just 3 days ago, he received his first grandchild. His oldest son, Steve, and his wife, Janet, presented him with a grandson named Bo.
Well, Coach Bowden considered this kind of a turning point year. He has turned 50, still young enough to carve out another opportunity, but reaching the point where he wanted to find a place where he might settle down. He asked Florida State for security when he was getting offers from other schools. He was contacted specifically this year by LSU.
Yes.
And they gave it to him in the form of a 5-year contract, total package over $600,000. There's Janelle Brown as he waits for the kickoff from Capiz. Slight wind is behind Bill Capiz, and you saw him knock it all the way out of the end zone. Florida will start with the football, trailing 3-0. This Monday night on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, AFC game between the Seattle Seahawks and the New York Jets. But then Thursday night, on a special Thursday night edition of ABC's NFL Football, you will be seeing the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. Very important game in the AFC East. On first down, Ochab's pass almost intercepted. Bobby Butler was the man who had it in his hands.
Bobby Butler and Keith Jones both had a shot at that ball.
Well, much was made of the fact that Janelle Brown was starting at tailback for Florida today, but he has not yet touched the ball from that position.
However, he is the leading ball carrier on the team. He has been a backup quarterback. He was a tailback first, and he can run and he can throw.
Ochab, 3 of 8 for 19 yards. Going deep to Collinsworth. And Collinsworth may have wrestled the ball away from the defensive back. He did.
He did.
Outstanding catch. The ball hung and he had to wait.
Number 28, Keith Jones, is coming into your coverage. This ball is well thrown along the sidelines by Ochab. There's Jones. And here is Chris Collinsworth showing some of the form, which I think next year is going to make him an All-American. Here he is isolated. He reminds me a little bit of an old teammate of mine, Del Schaffner. He's 6'4", 192 pounds, and he is fast.
On first down from the FSU 49-yard line, that is Terry Williams with the football. Do you think I'm sexy?
Well, of course.
I think it's probably about you, Lee.
Do you think I'm sexy?
Well, ask Clarion or Marty or Cindy or Elaine or Taro.
Well, apparently they do. And thank you.
Don't thank me.
I'm thanking them.
Second down and 9. Ochab. That is Collinsworth. And you see the official ruling out of bounds. Number 80 is defensive end Scott Warren, who went all the way downfield 20 yards past the line of scrimmage to cover it.
That's a tough assignment when a defensive end has to cover Chris Collinsworth all alone. Because of the nature of the coverage, he's open, but it's a good call by the official.
Now that's what Florida was able to effect that time by putting 2 wide receivers to the top of the screen. They got the defensive end covering Collinsworth.
That's exactly what they want to do today, is mix up their formations a little bit more. We might even see them using the shotgun, which they have not used this year.
The penalty now being walked off against Florida. Holding call against the Gators, so it all would have gone for naught even if Collinsworth had stayed in bounds. And that moves the football back to the Florida 38-yard line, where now it is second down, 23 yards to go for a first down. John Whitaker, number 34 in the game at fullback for Florida. Ochab throwing on almost every down. In and out of the hands of Janelle Brown.
Janelle not too happy about that. You mentioned him just a moment ago that we hadn't seen him get his hands on the football. The first time he does get his hands on the ball, attempted pass reception, he drops it. He's frustrated.
There is number 1, Don Van Wee, who is the long field goal kicker for Florida and also the kickoff man, and he is practicing into the net. Third down now, 23 yards to go for a Florida first down. The FSU defense is spread out. Four-man rush with a blitz. Ochab had no option but to put the ball down and run. Keith Jones knocked him out of bounds. And that'll make it fourth down. Pressure by Arthur Scott, defensive end number 54. Ron Simmons, number 50, was in there. Reggie Herring came on the blitz.
3 guys who have been busy all year.
When it's 3rd and 23 and you know what's coming, you have an advantage.
Yep.
Conover will kick. Gary Henry is deep to wait for it for FSU. Henry has a chance to run this back. Only got it past the 30 to the 32-yard line. Jim Calamaris, reserve nose guard number 71, was downfield to make the tackle for Florida after the 41-yard punt by Conover. And FSU will start their fourth possession at the 32-yard line.
Henry has been effective this year as a return man. In fact, he rated 10th nationally coming into today's game. However, so far he's been shut down.
Slight breeze behind Wally Woodham. Hardest Johnson to the bottom of the screen, Flowers to the top. Almost picked off. Number 27 is Bill Fiorillo. The junior cornerback, a walk-on from Carl Gables, who almost had it. This is Flowers.
Flowers on the sideline cut, and watch Fiorillo get what is so close to a touchdown interception. Here is the sideline cut right now, and the ball, instead of being thrown low and outside, is thrown high and inside, and there is the near interception.
Jackie Flowers again to the top of the screen. Phil Williams to the bottom. Bowden uses wide receivers to shuttle into play. This is Lyles, and he is near the 35. Jim Chris got underneath him.
Lyles on the carry.
Pickup of 3, and it will be third down 7.
I think that, go right ahead. The difference between Woodham and Jordan, I think you saw just then on that sideline route. Jordan has a much stronger arm. However, Woodham is very effective on play-action passes. He's very effective throwing to his back. He's good at picking the defenses apart as a leader, but as far as strength, Jordan is the man.
Third down. And that is Hardest Johnson. Inside the Florida 40 to the 37-yard line. He got away from number 47, Bruce Vaughn.
Hardest Johnson, a freshman who has been very effective filling in for Sam Platt, as we see Woodham throwing the ball to the sideline. And that ball is just well led. Certainly not an artistic success, but a perfect pass as far as a lead. And a great catch by Johnson.
Bill Williams to the bottom of the screen on first down now from the 37 after that 30-yard completion. Woodham to Hardest Johnson. Michael Whiting, who is down near the 30. Could have been a late tackle call there. Unless Whiting bobbled it.
I agree with you.
Doc Lucky and Jim Chris were both there for Florida.
Michael Whiting, as we pointed out earlier, has really given this running attack some stability. A converted fullback. He took over after the Virginia Tech game, and he's a good, solid runner who also doubles as a receiver.
There are the statistics on Woodham. Flowers is to the top of the screen. Johnson to the bottom. Ball comes loose, but Mark Lyles had already gone down. Vince Jones, a freshman defensive tackle, number 86 from Tampa, was the man who stopped Lyles after a pickup of 4. Now, it will be third down, a yard to go for a first down. Ball is at the 28. They must get just inside the 27.
Not necessarily a running situation for Florida State. They think every situation is a possible passing situation, and they could go play-action pass and try to go for the touchdown right now.
Williams to the bottom of the screen. Delay of game call. So for the second time today, the Seminoles are late getting started on offense, and when you turn a 3rd and 1 into 3rd and 6, that hurts.
Now instead of an obvious running situation, you really have an obvious passing situation. Here they might mix it up by going to the draw or possibly a sweep, because they are a team that likes to confuse the defense.
Last year's leading rusher was a tailback named Holmes Johnson. He went home before this season. Small town boy who was having difficulty with the college atmosphere. Then they tried Greg Ramsey, and he tore a knee up. This is Lyles. Well short of first down yardage. Mike Ricketts, a freshman linebacker, number 45, made the play out in the flat for Florida.
There was the screen I just talked about out in the flat to Lyles. And We talked about Holmes Johnson. There is a guy who was number 3 in career rushing with the year he had last year. He has written Bobby Bowden, says he will be back on campus for them next season.
Capellan is on to try another field goal, this time from the 37-yard line, so it's a 47-yard kick within his range, and especially with a little wind behind him, we still have just a minute remaining in the first quarter. Now Rick Stockstill turns to the official and calls for timeout. And that will be the second one that has been used in the quarter by Florida State, leaving them with only one remaining. Looked like a Florida player was on the verge of jumping offside, and that befuddled the Florida State offensive line, and Stockstill, rather than to draw another delay of game call and take them out of field goal range, held up the timeout sign.
Does that exhaust, if I'm correct, I think that exhausts their timeouts now.
Well, the scoreboard still shows one left.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm going by. But you look at Bobby Bowden along the sidelines, came to Florida State from West Virginia. Before he arrived, the Seminoles had won 4 of their previous 33 games. Capellan's kick. No good, wide to the right. Tried to hook it back in with the wind behind him, and it did not draw. It's just like hitting the 5-iron and watching it stay out there to the right and go into the trap. You hate it, don't you?
I do.
Coming up next on NCAA College Football at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, immediately following this game, Texas Tech against Houston. Important Southwest Conference battle as Houston is still in the running for the Cotton Bowl berth. 9th-ranked Houston, 8-1 on the season. The only loss to Texas against Texas Tech with a great fullback, James Hadnot. Watch that one. On first down, Ochad throws complete to number 88, James Jones, a freshman tight end from Pompano Beach, Florida, and Paul Pirowski, the linebacker from Sarasota, dragged him down.
James Jones, according to Charlie Pell, is the finest freshman he has ever seen at this tight end position. He has not started because Chris Faulkner, being a redshirt freshman, has a little more experience, but he thinks that James Jones, number 88, who we just saw coming underneath on that route, has unlimited potential.
Collinsworth to the top of the screen, Garrett to the bottom. And Collinsworth has another catch across the 40 to the 41, and that will be a first down for the Gators. They got 3 yards on the first play. They got 8 with that one. And with 23 seconds left in the quarter, a first down at the 41.
Chris Collinsworth, the gifted athlete, taking that quick slant in route. There are the stats on Larry Ochab. Quite a Cinderella story on this young man, and we'll be talking about him throughout the show.
Darrell Jones to the bottom of the screen. Kurt Garrett to the top. Flag is down. That was Terry Williams, the fullback, with the football. Arthur Scott made the tackle, and now we'll wait for the penalty call. Looks as though it's going to be walked off against the Gators. And the orange jerseys have already moved the huddle back. Now they're going to decline. A legal motion declined to make it second down 10. 89, Spencer Jackson comes in at wide receiver with the play. Kurt Garrett leaves, and that's the end of the first quarter. So, the end of one quarter of play in Florida Field. It is 3-0 FSU. As we start the second quarter in Gainesville, Florida, the University of Florida Gators have the football at the 41-yard line. So far, they have played quite respectably. That's tight end James Jones, who fumbled the football, and it's going to be Florida State ball. Monk Bonasorte, a man with an incredible nose for the football, came up with the fumble recovery. I believe that is his 4th fumble recovery of the year.
Monk Bonasorte, coming into today's game, had 8 interceptions. That is a record for Florida State. He really, as Jim pointed out a moment ago, has a nose for the football, sees the loose ball, covers it after the fumble by tight end James Jones. Who got the hit that set that up?
Well, I think it wasn't really a hit. Jones was stumbling along the ground, and the ball just popped loose. First down for Florida State as they take over at their 45-yard line. Lyles across midfield. 6-yard pickup. Doc Lucky helped to drag him down along with David Little. Little, the little brother of Larry Little, who is the star of the Florida defense in the absence of all the great players they've lost to injury, including All-America linebacker Scott Brantley. And Little was hurt last week against Kentucky and was not expected to play today, but has been in there since the second series. On second down, it is Lyles again. And he's dropped short of the first down. Lucky and Robin Fisher made the tackle for Florida. Down and a yard for the Seminoles. Whiting and Lyles are the setbacks. 2 tight ends. Jackie Flowers, the only wide receiver. Lyles is met right at the line of scrimmage by Robin Fisher. Tried to fall forward for the first down. We'll see if he got it. Fisher was there. Number 69, Dan Fike, the freshman defensive tackle from Pensacola, also there. It's going to be 4th down.
Looking at the first quarter stats, we can see the closeness of this football game, surprisingly, Jim Lampley. And a little bit of a surprise here. Well, very much of a surprise. Passing yardage, look who's out front. Florida 61 to Florida State's 56.
Key to the first quarter, the 1 turnover which set up the Capellan field goal. On 4th down, Michael Whiting going for the first down, and he is apparently stopped short. It was freshman defensive tackle Dan Fike from Pensacola, who probably made the big play for Florida. I say probably because there will be a measurement. Although the FSU defense has already come on the field. A little wordplay between Jackie Flowers, number 23, and number 50 of Florida, Yancey Sutton. There's no point in Flowers saying anything to Sutton. He can't hear.
He's deaf, but he can't lip read.
Yancey is a great, great individual. Always a smile. Terrific football player. And you see that the Seminoles missed as they went with Whiting, the tailback, instead of Lyles, the 225-pound fullback, on 4th down.
This is a pumped-up Gator football team. They came out in their orange jerseys at the very top. We sensed that there was some emotional energy, and they are playing that way today. They have been the spoiler on many occasions in this series.
6 times Florida State has played Florida when they were unbeaten. 6 times Florida has won. So there is a jinx for FSU to overcome. On first down, Ochab wants Collinsworth. He has it. Inside the 20 to the 16. Bobby Butler was right there, but Collinsworth has a 5-inch height advantage.
This is something we pointed out earlier. As we see Collinsworth running the fly pattern on the up route along the sideline. He is 6'4". Bobby Butler is only 5'11". Straight up, the fly, the streak, the up, whatever you want to call it. It's a foot race along the sideline. And there is the well-thrown ball by Ochab. Had an excellent catch by number 21, Chris Collinsworth.
39-yard completion. Ochab now has 100 yards in the air. And you see the statistics on Cadillac Collinsworth. This is Prelo with the football. Flag is down. I'll tell you, the Gators have real trouble with the running game. They have all year. Their impetus on offense today has been from fearless throwing. Throwing on every down without regard to down and distance.
They have had problems in the offensive line, and they have young backs.
Referee Morris Harrison signals the illegal procedure against Florida, and there you see today's official crew. Southeastern Conference officials. Florida State, though an independent, uses SEC officials in most of their games. Jonell Brown. Ron Simmons dropped it. Simmons is from Warner Robins, Georgia. The year that he came out of high school in Warner Robins, he was one of the most heavily recruited, if not the most heavily recruited player in the state of Georgia. He was the first big recruiting coup for Bowden at Florida State. And his arrival in Tallahassee was a big event.
Bobby Bowden mentions him in the same class as Tony Dorsett. He means to the defense what Tony Dorsett meant to Pittsburgh's offense.
Well, and to the program in general, he turned it around. Ochab was trying to go to Collinsworth again and threw behind him. Butler was with Collinsworth. Keith Jones, the strong safety, was also in the area. Florida State is one of the few teams all year, if not the only team, which is going with single coverage on Chris Collinsworth.
Well, it's risky, but that's some indication of how much they respect the athletic ability of Bobby Butler.
Ochab in the ball game, 8 of 15, 114 yards. Now this is a 3rd down and 17. He has get the ball to the 5 for a 1st down. Draw play to Janelle Brown goes nowhere, and again, it was Ron Simmons who read the play and made the tackle.
Ron Simmons is some kind of hoss at that nose guard position, and as we pointed out, probably next year, 2 guys really come to mind at the defensive line position. Hugh Green, number 99 of Pittsburgh, and Ron Simmons, number 50, both juniors out of Florida State.
Chuck Hatch will hold. Brian Clark sets up to attempt the field goal, and they go for the field goal. The kick is wide left. Brian Clark, a good kicker who was 8 of 11 before that attempt, misses, and Florida squanders a scoring opportunity. So we're back at Florida Field, 11 minutes, 4 seconds remaining before halftime. Florida State still leading only 3-0. An inspiring Florida team. Jimmy Jordan now in the ball game, and he tries to hit Hardis Johnson on 1st down. Juan Collins, the senior free safety man from Hollywood, Florida, a former tight end, was the man who racked up Hardis Johnson. But the big news is that Wally Woodham is getting his first relief of the day, and the fastball pitcher, Jimmy Jordan, is on.
He is known as the rifleman because he's got the big gun, and he probably has as strong an arm as any quarterback that has ever played at Florida State. That from Bill Peterson before the game today, who has coached some good ones. There you look at his stats.
There was a penalty flag down on the play, and the mark-off is going to be 15 yards against Florida. Personal foul call. May have been roughing the passer.
Good break for Jimmy Jordan, who has always played very well for Jim Lampley.
Well, that's for sure. The games that I have done, he's been awesome. On 1st down now from the 38. Screen pass to Michael White. Robin Fisher is out there in the flat to drag him down, along with linebacker Jim Chris. Pickup of only 3. It will be 2nd down, 7. Those are the Florida cheerleaders along the sideline. And there are some of the 10,000 Florida State Seminole faithful who are here. There is David Little, who, as we mentioned before, has been in the ball game since the 2nd series. 2nd down, 7. Number 50 is Yancey Sutton. And Sutton, an old friend of Jimmy Jordan, says hello.
Is that any way to say hello to an old friend?
Loss of 12.
Coming from the right of your screen, let's take a look at Yancey Sutton, the deaf player who seems to really have a sense for quarterbacks. Jim Smith says hi to his old pal, Jimmy Jordan.
Well, he's some football player. One of the many Florida defensive players who have been out for long periods of time with injury this year. So make it 22 yards to go for the 1st down. Jordan wants Hardis Johnson. Number 43, freshman cornerback Sonny Gilliam, had a chance at an interception. And Doc Lucky was the man who rushed the passer, Jimmy Jordan. So the bomb squad came on, but nothing came up. And Ron Stark will go back to punt for Florida State. Collinsworth and Knapp Green are deep to receive for Florida. Stark's first punt traveled 60 yards. This time he kicks against the wind, and the wind hangs it up a little. Takes an FSU roll, though, goes out of bounds at the Gator 31-yard line. We've got 9 minutes and 22 seconds left before halftime, and we'll be back. The last time Florida won a game was November 18 last year against Kentucky. So it's been more than a year, but the Gators have played very well so far. First down from the 31-yard line, and Terry Williams gets the call from his fullback position. Pickup of a yard. It will be second down 9. This program is being brought to you as an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. Now let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves. Terry Williams now 4 carries for -2 yards. Gators can't get a running game going. So Oshab wants to throw. Number 14, Jonell Brown. This time he held on and got across the 41 to the 42. Bobby Butler ran him out of bounds, but not before Brown had first down yardage.
I look from the end zone at Jonell Brown heading out to the flat. And here it is, the pass by Larry Oshab out to his backup quarterback, Jonell Brown. We felt that this might be one of the keys today, was his appearance in the backfield at the tailback position, because he has been the team's leading rusher.
There's a look at Yancey Sutton smiling after his big sack of Jimmy Jordan on the last series for Florida. Oshab trying to go to Collinsworth. This time it is Bobby Butler who took the football away from Collinsworth. So it's give and take. Collinsworth took one away earlier. Bobby Butler did it this time.
Once again, the matchup we talked about, the battle of the 21s. Number 21 for Florida is Chris Collinsworth. 21 for FSU is Butler. And here is the fight for the football. Collinsworth got the other one. Butler takes this one.
Florida's 3rd turnover of the football game. And for Butler, his 6th interception of the year. Fell down at the 21-yard line. It will be Florida State football at the 21. The Seminoles rank high in 6 of the 8 major NCAA statistical categories. They're up there in most of the defensive categories and in passing offense. On first down, that is Lyles with the football. He has 2. It'll be second down 8. Robin Fisher with the tackle for Florida.
Jimmy Jordan in the game, as we pointed out, is more of a deep and intermediate type passer. His favorite target has been number 23, Jackie Flowers, who ranks right up there now with guys like Fred Biletnikoff, Ron Sellers, some of the great receivers in the past for Florida State.
That was Flowers to the top of the screen. Jordan wants Phil Williams, and he misses him out at about the 40-yard line. Juan Collins was covering Phil Williams. There's Bobby Butler. 5 feet 11 inches from Delray Beach. Florida quarterbacks are small, but very good. Jordan now 1 of 4 for only 3 yards. And there you see the third down story as the Seminoles get ready to face their 8th third down of the game. That's Flowers, short of first down yardage. Pick up a 3. It'll be 4th down 4. Strong safety Chuck Hatch made the saving tackle for Florida.
Again, good pressure that time by Florida. Even on the occasions when they have not sacked the quarterback, they have applied good pressure, and that has been one of the things that we talked about, one of the keys today for the Gators.
Collinsworth and Knapp Green are deep as Ron Stark goes back for his 3rd punt of the day. Kicking into the breeze. And again, it hangs up. This is Knapp Green. He's dumped immediately at the 44-yard line. So Florida will start with the ball in excellent field position after the 41-yard punt from Stark. And we come back. Some of the Gator students trying to live down their reputation as a party school. What's your assessment, Tupper?
I didn't go here.
Yeah, but you've been here the last 2 days. Been to any party?
I have not been to any party. Have you attended any party?
No, I ate Thanksgiving dinner on the plane. Chris Faulkner, and Faulkner is dragged down immediately by Ivory Joe Hunter. Ron Simmons was the man who was rushing Ochab. It's a pickup of 7. It'll be second down 3.
Ochab did a good job that time of sidestepping Simmons. He was right into the backfield, made a little move to his left, and wound up completing the ball to his tight end, Chris Faulkner, a guy who just showed up and said, I want to play football.
That time, Ochab wanted to go to Johnny Gaffney, and number 54, Arthur Scott, knocked the ball down at the line of scrimmage. So now it will be third down 3 for Florida. Remember that the Gators have virtually no running game to speak of. They have scored only 1 rushing touchdown all year. That was scored by Tim Groves, who is now a reserve free safety man. Two interceptions so far off Ochab. One of them was tipped. The other was just a great play by Bobby Butler. On third down, out of bounds. Johnny Gaffney had the football, but he was well across the line when he caught it. Ivory Joe Hunter calmly watched him step across the line and then dropped off.
Johnny Gaffney, the last of the Gaffney brothers. There have been 4 of them.
Don, Warren, and Derek. Derek plays for the Jets. Don is a lawyer in Jacksonville.
Did your homework for this one.
Bill Conover to punt for Florida. He has the wind behind him. Gary Henry is deep for Florida State, and he'll watch it and hope it goes into the end zone. It doesn't. Out of bounds at the 6-yard line. So an accurate punt by Conover, and Florida State will have bad field position trying to go into the wind when we come back. Well, there's the good news for Laurie and Bud. Mom, we hope you're not too shocked. First down, Florida State at their own 6 after the 44-yard punt by Bill Conover. And Whiting on first down gets out to the 12. Good job by the left side of the offensive line for Florida State. Ken Lanier, the tackle, number 72. Mike Good, an outstanding guard from Sanford, Florida, number 69. And for those of you in New York, we are happy that you are back after having had transmitter troubles. You have not missed any scoring. Florida State still leads the football game 3-0. Florida, after a long pass completion, Ochab to Collinsworth had a chance for a field goal, but they missed. Penalty walk-off, illegal procedure against Florida State. So wipe out the 6-yard gain for Whiting and now make it first down from the 3-yard line.
First and 3, remember that they will throw the football from anywhere on the field.
Sam Platt to the bottom of your screen. Jackie Flowers to the top. Jordan wants Platt off his hands. Carrillo, the cornerback, was coming up to cover, but Platt had plenty of room, and you've got to give him a cushion. Of all the Florida State receivers, that man, number 29, is the real burner, the deep threat.
He is a guy who is due to really come on and have a good football game. He's been out the last 4 weeks. Curtis Johnson has done a good job for a freshman filling in for Sam Platt, but they feel that this is a guy that could break the game open today.
Second down, 13 yards to go. Johnson to the bottom of the screen, Flowers to the top. This is Mark Lyle. And the big fullback from Buffalo, New York, plows forward to about the 7. Jim Chris stopped him, but they got just a little breathing room. Field position is now a big factor. The wind is blowing in Jimmy Jordan's face. That's the other thing that those of you in New York might have missed. Jimmy Jordan has entered the game at quarterback for Florida State.
He now has a 3rd and long situation, and Florida State has been ineffective in these situations. Only 1 of 8 conversions, 1 of 6 for Florida.
5 defensive backs for Florida. He wants Brady King, the tight end, and he almost had him. 78, Dozier Smith is the man who knocked Jimmy Jordan down in the end zone as he released the football. And the Florida defensive line continues to do a sensational job of pressuring the Florida State quarterback. More pressure than Jordan and Woodham have seen all year.
Well, in case you joined us late, we pointed out that coming into the day's game, they had only been sacked 8 times all season. They have been sacked 3 times today, and on other occasions, pressure has been applied.
Stark will be at the back of the end zone. He is punting into a breeze, which has been a factor in the game so far. Collinsworth is standing inside the FSU 40. And the Gators are apparently setting up to rush and try to block the kick. Here they come. Knapp Green almost got there. Stark's punt takes a Florida State roll and goes to the 44. So, a 37-yard kick for Stark, and Florida will start the offense in outstanding field position at the Florida State 44. You see the statistic that demonstrates neither team has moved the football on the ground. It's somewhat misleading because into that Florida State rushing figure, you have to figure the 3 sacks for big losses. Larry Oshab, Dr. O. Tried to hit Johnny Gaffney, and 42 Monk Bonasort was there with him. And there's a look at Jimmy Jordan on the sidelines, sitting between the legs of Grady King, his tight end. He has not yet been able to move Florida State. Gator team is certainly showing spunk today. 2nd down 10 from the 44. 3 wide receivers. Jones, tight end, goes in motion. This time, Johnny Gaffney has it. Inside the 40 to the 37-yard line. It will be 3rd down 3. Tomorrow, a doubleheader here on ABC, NCAA College Football at 12:30 Eastern Time. Most of you will see Nebraska versus Oklahoma in the showdown for the Big 8 title and to determine which team will play Florida State in the Orange Bowl. Nebraska undefeated and ranked number 2. Oklahoma ranked 7th. Also LSU, Tulane, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Nevada, Reno versus Northern Arizona, and Massachusetts, Boston College. On 3rd down, Ochab keeps the football to the weak side and has the 1st down at the 30-yard line. Bonasort made the tackle, but that is a play that Georgia had difficulty defending, and Florida State wasn't ready for it there.
You read my mind. Just 2 weeks ago, we saw Larry Ochab very often on these same situations, that time a 3rd and 4 situation, running the option play. He ran it back to the weak side, and he ran it effectively.
1st down now at the 30-yard line. This crowd is up and alive. They have not seen the Gators play this effectively all year. If it weren't for the 3 turnovers, they would probably be leading in the ballgame. Simmons. And finally, Mark Motzek and Reggie Herring dumped Larry Ochab, but it was Simmons who forced him out of the pocket.
Bobby Bowden out of Samford College circa 1952, where he was an old quarterback himself and has always liked the passing game. He said of the various people that have influenced him, probably Bill Peterson influenced him the most. Bill Peterson, of course, the former Florida State coach.
2nd down 9 as Ochab managed to get back for a yard on that scramble. Incomplete. It will be 3rd down 9. Florida is in tough sledding on offense right now because they have Phil Farr, number 52, a junior reserve center from Ocala, in the game, replacing Redmond, who has a bad thumb, and matched up against Ron Simmons. Now, Farr is a guy who throughout his career has done little more than the long snaps for punts and place kicks. He is not ready to face a player of Simmons' caliber.
You got to figure that is a center's nightmare.
3rd down, 9 yards to go. Look at how close Simmons is to Farr. And aware of the need to get rid of the football quickly, Ochab threw it behind Kurt Garrett. Bonasort was there. In this situation, they have to double team Simmons.
The matchup of Farr on Simmons, and there you see the double teaming that has been so prevalent on Ron Simmons all year long. Wally Huff, number 74, comes into the picture.
He's still standing up.
He's still recovering. He looks like the Incredible Hulk.
4th down, and Brian Clark will attempt a 46-yard field goal, partially blocked. Number 80, Scott Warren got there. to block the kick. So for the second time, Florida has a scoring opportunity, and for the second time, they are unable to capitalize.
Let's see if we can see the block coming from the outside. There it is, coming from the top of your screen. That is picture-perfect form in blocking a field goal. Flying through the air with your arms crossed. Perfect.
Charlie Pell. Talk about frustration. This man is 0-8-1, and he doesn't like to lose a single game. On first down, Whiting with the football, and Robin Fisher made the tackle for Florida. There's Ron Simmons. We've talked so much about him. As I said, you hear about Jordan and Woodham, but that's the man.
I talked to that big horse just yesterday. I asked him if he was going to be nice to those freshman centers. He said, no way. No way.
Second down, 7 yards to go after the 3-yard gain by Whiting. This is Grady King. And the tight end is across the 45 to the 46-yard line. David Little dragged him down from behind. Pickup of 13, though, and a first down for Florida State.
Grady King, one of 2 good tight ends. He is probably the better receiver of the 2, that time on a crossing pattern, coming from left to right. Good play action by Jordan, and nice touch on the ball, throwing over the linebacker.
2 minutes, 5 seconds remaining before halftime. Jimmy Jordan trying to get a touchdown on the board for Florida State. Wants to go to Whiting. To the 45-yard line. Chuck Hatch made the tackle for Florida. Pickup of 9. It will be second down 1.
There is a man who, as we pointed out earlier, has really made a difference in the Florida State attack since taking over at the tailback spot after the Virginia Tech game. I guess he really emerged in the ball game you covered earlier against LSU.
That was the first game he played at tailback all the way, and he did make a contribution there. Pell trying to get his team to call timeout, and now he gets it. So Florida uses a timeout with 1 minute 27 seconds left. Pell wants to make a defensive adjustment. I talked to Bobby Bowden yesterday about the jinx of playing Florida here in Gainesville, and he had this to say.
About a traditional rivalry like this, often it is said, throw out the book. It's been pointed out 6 times Florida State has come in here against Florida unbeaten. 6 times you've lost. Does that bother you?
No, it really doesn't. This football team the last 3 years has broken more jinx than any of them. Last year was the first year we beat them 2 times in a row. The year before, that's the first time we beat them in 10 years. We've broken about 4 or 5 jinxes this year, and one more don't bother us one bit.
On the sideline, Jimmy Jordan talking to Bowden. He's a remarkably cool coach. The way he has handled the 2 quarterback situation, which could have been so explosive, is, to me, just a masterful job of human psychology.
Credit to him, and it's credit to both quarterbacks that they have handled it as well as they have. They really do like each other.
There's his opposite number, Charlie Pell. Second and a yard. Pickup of 2 and a first down for Florida State. They wanted the sure first down as Jimmy Jordan sneaks forward to get it.
First down, Florida State.
Now they line up again. 2 plays were called in the huddle. Okay, we'll sneak and get the first down, then we'll do this. Flowers to the top of the screen, Whiting in the slot. Tight end, Grady King. Inside the 35 to the 32-yard line. Sonny Gilliam made the stop for Florida. Pickup of 11, another Seminole first down.
Double wing set, straight drop back pass. And here you see that fine release that we talked about of Jimmy Jordan as he's throwing the outsider to his tight end, Grady King, number 85, along the sideline. The other man over there, of course, number 23, Jackie Flowers.
First down. Johnson to the top of the screen. Flowers to the bottom. That is Johnson. He had it. He lost it after he was knocked out of bounds. They rule it incomplete. Sonny Gilliam, a freshman cornerback who is under pressure today and so far has held up very well.
We were isolated on number 43, Sonny Gilliam, in the secondary, and perfect timing on the receiver.
Second down 10 from the 33. We're under a minute to go before halftime. Grady King. Fernando Jackson dragged him down, but not before King had another Florida State first down inside the 22 to the 21-yard line. But when you have to cover the wide receivers as carefully as you do for Florida State, you've got a linebacker covering the tight end, and Jimmy Jordan is exploiting that right now.
Thus, Grady King has emerged as a key player on this drive.
Clock running, 18 seconds left before halftime. Hardis Johnson, touchdown. They went right back at Sonny Gilliam, and that time it went the other way.
Hardis Johnson running a corner route, and it was a beauty. Down, a little move to the post, and back to the corner. He's isolated on Gilliam. There's the play-action pass. Stand-up throw by Jordan. Good touch over the top. There's the catch, easy in the end zone. Hardis Johnson beating Sonny Gilliam to the corner of the end zone.
Capellan will try to add the extra point. It is good. So the Seminoles extend their lead to 10-0 against a Florida team that has hung in and hung in. And some of the Seminole supporters, perhaps prematurely, have started throwing oranges on the field. There's Jimmy Jordan on the season. That is touchdown pass number 13 for Jordan. In career figures, that is the 61st touchdown pass that Jordan and Woodham have produced during their remarkable reign as dual quarterbacks in Tallahassee.
And as we pointed out at the top of the show, between the two of them, they have combined for over 7,000 yards of career total offense. There is a man with a great arm who probably is going to have a future in the pros. He could go in the first or second round of the pro draft, according to some of the experts.
Statistics on the scoring drive for FSU, the big plays in the drive, 3 passes to tight end Grady King. And Bill Capice pops the ball up into the sky and out of bounds. So Florida now will have the option of making Florida State kick it over from the 35-yard line. There's a happy Seminole. Florida State Seminoles come into this game with 14 straight wins. Second longest current winning streak in college football. Alabama has the longest at 19. We mentioned it has been since November 18 of last year that Florida has won a game. It has been since October 21 a year ago that Florida State has lost one. There is Jonell Brown deep to receive the kickoff for Florida. Because of the wind, which has been picking up steadily throughout the ball game, he's standing out at the 9-yard line. Capice will kick it from the 35. Again, he boots it up in the sky. They're trying for an onside effort here, and the man who made the catch over there for Florida was number 90, Val Brown, reserve defensive end. Nebraska thing. Game for Florida. Why isn't he in Norman, Oklahoma for tomorrow's game?
Maybe he was confused. He might have got on the wrong plane.
He thought we were doing the Nebraska-Oklahoma game. On first down, Ochap throws it into the hands of Gary Henry. And the reserve safety man has some room. Now Ochap can tackle him. But the man who gets there first is Carl Prelove. And that's the end of the first half. Another look at the last play of the half.
Gary Henry, who is so effective as a return man, actually treats this as if it was a return. He is in the perfect spot to intercept the pass thrown by Ochap. And now you're going to see some of his open field running ability as he takes it in just before halftime.
halftime at Florida Field in Gainesville, Florida. You see the score, Florida State 10, Florida nothing. Florida, despite having times, has hung in very tough, mostly on the strength of a very active defensive line. In the first quarter, Florida State went ahead 3-0 on a 41-yard Dave Capellan field goal after an interception by defensive tackle James Gilbert on a tipped ball. Then in the second quarter, with less than a minute remaining in the half, Jimmy Jordan to Hardus Johnson, 21 yards, a touchdown pass that made it 10-0. Lee Grosscup.
What really sets it up here is the play-action fake. This just gives a little hesitation, the fake to the tailback. Now, Hardus Johnson goes down the field, cuts toward the post, goes back to the corner, beats Gilliam, and the ball is absolutely perfect. Couldn't have thrown that with any better touch or timing.
Here's another look.
One other look. There's the fake to the tailback. He plants that right foot, and he really comes over, up and over the top. The ball is caught in stride by Hardus Johnson, number 22, who has beaten Gilliam to the corner.
You know, Cupper, I did the Florida State LSU game with Frank Broyles, former head coach of Arkansas, who, of course, works as a great analyst for us. He said that he believes the Florida State receivers run the post-corner pattern more precisely and better than any other group of receivers in the country.
That's quite a compliment, because Frank Broyles has coached some outstanding receivers. One I can remember, Lance Alwyn.
And Chuck Dicus and several others. Now on the field, the Florida State University Marching Chiefs Band, under the direction of Bentley Shellahammer. And as they do their segment of the halftime show, we'll look in.
We change pace with this mellow arrangement of Mangione's Bella Via.
This is Chuck Mangione's Bellavia. Florida State University in Tallahassee. Lovely little place. Let's visit right now.
With classrooms just a few blocks from the Capitol building in Tallahassee, Florida State University students see the state's governmental operations firsthand. During annual legislative sessions, government students from Florida State serve internships with senators, representatives, and cabinet officials. As part of Florida State's Center of Excellence, this nationally recognized program prepares students for careers in public administration, politics, foreign affairs, international relations, and other forms of government service.
We're back in Gainesville, Florida. Halftime score, Florida State unbeaten and ranked 5th in the country, leading Florida 10-0. Still on the field, Florida State University Marching Chiefs, practicing for their Orange Bowl appearance.
We close our program with Stan
to the memory of the late, great Stan Kenton, one of the great innovators in modern jazz. This performance of Kenton's artistry and rhythm. Collegiate Athletics Association. We're going to get ready now for the Fireman's Fund Flashback. The Fireman's Fund Flashback is brought to you by Fireman's Fund Insurance, and Fireman's Fund Insurance is brought to you by an independent agent near you. Yesterday, Lee Grosskopf and I were both here when teams took their pre-game final practices, and Lee had a chance to talk with Florida coach Charlie Pell about the future. I talked with Florida State coach Bobby Bowden about a happier subject for him, the present.
Coming off the kind of year that you had last year at Clemson, what has it been like for you emotionally to experience this kind of a year?
Well, it's been a strain to experience any disappointment because it's, as a football coach, we feel like it's very important to help young people be successful, and we feel that pressure ourselves. And the thing to see young people be excited about what they're accomplishing day to day, and we've taken a strong look at our academic progress, and we're proud of that. And we put a high priority on the academic success and the personal success of each person that participates in our football team, and I think that's been a great trend of ours this fall, and we're seeing the positive results there. We're seeing the individual progress on the football field, even though they may be young and inexperienced and susceptible to making some mental errors. But the one-loss record is in no way indicative of the progress that the Florida Football Organization has made. We're very positive about the future, and I'm looking forward to taking this group through what we would consider our first full-speed, full-choke spring practice.
Coach, we have a remarkable emotional contrast here between a team, your opponent, Florida, which has suffered through the most difficult kind of season, and your team, which has had almost like a dream season. How has it been to be undefeated and having the kind of season that is the envy of every head coach?
Well, it's been great. I've never been through it before. We've had a great year. We've been lucky. We've had a couple of ball games where we were behind 2 touchdowns with 10 minutes to go, and we've been lucky enough to win them, and that's been the key so far. We've been luckier on the injury situation than Florida has. They've been hurt. We haven't been, and we feel very fortunate to be where we are.
Coach, 2 years ago you were in the situation of having a team that you were trying to build into a national power and to gain recognition. Now, in a sense, you're there. Do you feel more pressure?
Only pressure we feel is the fact that we're so close to perfection, and yet we know we can get knocked off. I've told the people back home it's kind of like having a no-hitter going into the 9th inning, man. If you get these next 3 out, you're in. That's the way she feels.
You took one big step this year that Florida State had never managed to take before, and that is a New Year's Day Bowl invitation, one of the 4 major bowls. Were you confident these past few weeks that that was going to come to you?
After last year, no. No, last year we were 8-3 and couldn't buy a bowl. This year they're begging for people. So we were afraid we could get left out again, and but thank goodness we were able to get an Orange Bowl bid, which we felt like was a great hurdle that we had to clear at Florida State.
Coach, after what happened last year, were you anxious to jump at the first bowl that came along, or did you feel some patience feeling that you had a good football team and you could wait?
No, you hit it on the head. We had made up our mind, our athletic director and our president, and I think my players felt the same way. A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, and buddy, the first bird that jumped out there we were going to grab.
You know, we're back at Florida Field. Halftime, Florida State leading Florida 10-0 on the field. The Gator Band, under the direction of Frank V. Wicks. And this song, Don't Stop Me Now, from a medley of hits by the rock group Queen. their great star, Freddie Mercury. The home of the University of Florida. Now let's listen to a statement on behalf of the University of Florida by their president, Dr. Robert Marston.
Public universities have a proud history of service to the states that support them. Increasingly, businesses, foundations, and individuals are contributing to provide a margin for excellence. A far-sighted Florida legislature now encourages even greater teamwork. For each $600,000 given a state university, the state will provide $400,000 to establish a teaching chair. The University of Florida welcomes this challenge to be able to add eminent scholars to its already excellent faculty.
The Florida State Florida game is being brought to you by Sears and the folks at your Sears Tire and Auto Center, where you can depend on straight talk, good value, and satisfaction. Help keep your cars going at Sears. And by Chevrolet, your participating Chevy dealers who invite you to come take a special test drive during Chevy's National Economy Drive. And by Radio Shack, your electronic Christmas store with over 5,000 stores and participating dealers nationwide. The Florida Gator Band wrapping up their halftime show, and we'll be back for the second half here at Florida Field. Back at Florida Field, the halftime score 10-0 Florida State, and as we wait for the second half to begin, I'm standing in our announce booth with a man who in the past few weeks has been one of the busiest men in all of sports. George Steinbrenner, of course, the owner of the New York Yankees. You have been wheeling and dealing for the past few weeks. Now tell me this, you traded for a catcher, you traded for a center fielder, you signed a left-handed relief pitcher and a right-handed hitter. How much stronger do you expect your ball club to be as a result of all these deals?
Well, we'll be strong enough that we'll be able to show up every week. That's about it. I don't want to say any more because I don't want everybody to be looking for us. I'm perfectly happy being the underdog this year, but we're going to be tough. We're going to be there at the end, I think, and we're going to have a good baseball team.
Do you feel comfortable right now with the new management of the ball club? You've made changes not only on the field, but off the field as well.
Well, I think Dick Hauser will be a great manager, one of the really great ones. He came from Florida State, right up the road here, and he was with us 16 years. Fine baseball technician and a fine young man, and he's going to do a great job for us. Gene Michael in the front office, I brought him along for 5 years. Very happy with him, and he goes very well with the rest of our people. We lost Jack Butterfield, a tragic automobile accident last week, and he, of course, was in charge of all our minor leagues and has done a great job. And we'll never be able to replace him fully, but we're going to try. And this is a great game today, isn't it? I tell you, this Florida really turns on. The sunshine.
Played extremely good first half compared to what they have played up to this point in the season. Let me ask you one further question about your ball club. I know you believe in the free agent system because it's there and you believe in going ahead and using what is there, but do you think it hurts the incentive of your young ball players in the minor leagues to continually bring in talent from the majors?
That's right, it can. It can hurt the incentive, but of course we brought up 3 last year. We're going to bring up 3 again this year. They don't know who they are yet, but they're coming up. And so we hope that if we can supply 2 to 3 players a year out of our minor league system, where we won 5 out of 5 championships last year, we're going to be all right. We think we'll be lucky if we can do that. The free agent system is not the greatest thing for baseball, but if it's there and the other people are using it, notice the Dodgers. I understand they've already got 2 and they're probably going to go after Morgan. That'll be 3. Even the clubs that said before they weren't going to do it found out that they have to do it. We've never been hypocritical about it. We've said from the start, if it's there, it's the law. We're going to go with it to give the people in New York the best baseball team I can. That's why I'm in the business.
You come over here from Tampa a lot?
Well, I have a farm at Ocala right down the road, and I was there for Thanksgiving and came up to see this game because these are 2, Florida really turns on for this game every year. It's unreal.
George, thanks very much for visiting with us. Good luck the rest of the way, and we get ready for the second half kickoff.
There is Bobby Bowden, whose team leads right now 10-zip, and Florida State will get the football to start the second half. And it'll be interesting to see, Jim Lampley, who starts at quarterback for the Seminoles. Now, Wally Woodham started in the first quarter, and he moved the team just so-so. Jimmy Jordan came on in the second quarter, and he's talking to Jimmy Jordan right now, so we would assume that he is the man who is going to start here in the second half.
Great job, Cupper. And there is Charlie Pell, the Florida coach, whose team played above expectations, I believe, in the first half. If it weren't for 4 turnovers, they would be closer than they are. As it is, they're still in the ball game, trailing only 10-0. Don Van Wee approaches the ball to kick it off for Florida. With the wind behind him, Hardis Johnson takes it in the end zone, will not bring it out. So Florida State will start with the offense from the 20-yard line. And we look at the young men who will be playing on the defensive line for Florida. Tim Golden at left end. Doc Lucky out of Charlie Pell's doghouse and starting today at left tackle, and he was a factor in the first half, as was this man, nose guard Robin Fisher, and freshman defensive tackle Dan Fike, who made a big stop on 3rd and 1. And Yancey Sutton, the defensive end, coming back from 5 weeks on the injured list, who had a big sack with Jimmy Jordan as well as several other big plays in the first half. First down from the 20-yard line. Whiting and Lyles, the setbacks. This is Michael Whiting. And the Florida State tailback is across the 26 to the 27. It will be second down 3 after the shoestring tackle by Jim Chris. That man right there, senior from Jacksonville, Florida. The other linebacker who started today, freshman Fernando Jackson, but we've seen David Little at that position a lot. Bill Carrillo, the cornerback. 4th sack of the day. Again, Yancey Sutton belt Jimmy Jordan to the ground. This time the loss all the way back to the 15, a loss of 12. And here's the rest of the secondary for Florida. Juan Collins, the free safety. Chuck Hatch is the strong safety. And the other cornerback who started today is a freshman named Sonny Gilliam. 3rd down now and 14 yards to go after another sack by the Florida defensive line.
For today, there were only 8 all season coming into today's game. We saw 45 passes in the first half.
Sutton is about as motivated as you'll ever see a football player. And again, the Florida defensive line is in there to force Jimmy Jordan to keep the football. Jim Chris is the man who finally ran Jordan out of bounds, and it'll be 4th down. Tim Golden was the guy who applied the initial pressure to Jordan.
That has really been the story for Florida today. What a difference in that defensive line, as they have really done the job harassing both quarterbacks. That time, Jimmy Jordan.
FSU now 1 of 10 on 3rd down conversions. Stark punting from his end zone. They try to block it, but he booms a beautiful punt into the wind. Knapp Green calls a fair catch at the 50-yard line. So the Gators will start with the ball right at midfield. 37-yard punt. Here are the men on defense for Florida State. Arthur Scott is the rushing end, replacing Willie Jones with the Raiders this year. Mark Motzek, one of 4 tackles who are used interchangeably. That man's the key. Ron Simmons, Jeremy Mindlin, the other starter among those 4 tackles, and Scott Warren, an outstanding student with about a 3.8 academic average, headed for medical school, plays the other defensive end. Setbacks are Prelo and Williams, but on first down, Ochab wants to throw, and he hits Carl Prelo, the tailback. Reggie Herring was back there to run Prelo out of bounds. Reggie Herring is the strong side linebacker for Florida State. Paul Purowski, the weak side linebacker, a former quarterback. Bobby Butler at one corner. You've seen him man-on-man against Collinsworth a lot today. Monk Bonasort, the free safety. 8 interceptions. Keith Jones, a very physical, strong safety, and the other cornerback, captain of the defense, Ivory Joe Hunter. Pick up a 5 on first down at 2nd and 5. Collinsworth is to the top of the screen, and he's open. But Ochab throws underneath instead to Freelow. Freelow makes the catch, but short of a first down before Herring dropped him.
Ochab threw 25 times in the first half and completed 11 as we look at Florida's offensive line.
Redmond has been out of there recently, and Phil Farr has been at center. Ochab, Williams, Freelow, Collinsworth, and Garrett, we've seen that group most of the way in the backfield. Now, on 3rd down and 1, Collinsworth to the bottom of the screen. Remember, Florida has little, if any, running game. Ochab did not make it. He got a first down on 3rd and short one time in the first half, using that keeper to the weak side. This time, Florida State was ready for it. Walter Carter was there, and so was Ivory Joe Hunter, the cornerback. 4th down. And the Florida crowd is screaming for the Gators to go for it.
They need about a 1.5 foot, it looks like.
Well, there's timeout on the field as Florida wants to consider what to do here. And we'll be back early in the 3rd quarter after this. 4th down 1. 3 wide receivers to the bottom of the screen. Spread formation, only 1 setback. Do you go play action pass, Tupper? No. They try the quarterback sneak. Ochab going right at Ron Simmons. A big gamble, and it looks like they got the first down. They did. Inside the 40 to the 39. Phil Farr was the center who blocked and made room for Ochab. Those are halftime stats.
And once again in this passing battle, notice again that Florida outpassed Florida State in the first half. As you pointed out, had it not been for those 4 turnovers, the game would be even closer than it is.
Collinsworth is to the bottom of the screen, Garrett to the top. Throwing for Freelow, and Freelow has it. And a good game down inside the 35 to the 32. It was Bobby Butler, the cornerback, coming up hard, who almost had the interception and a touchdown.
Bobby Butler comes within inches right here. He is rolled up in the zone coverage as Freelow is hitting the flat. Now watch how close he comes to picking this ball off. There it is, just inches away. Freelow takes the ball after it's almost tipped, spins out, and there is the end of the completion.
2nd down 3. They need to get to the 29 for a first down. And they have it. Kurt Garrett steps out of bounds inside the 25 to the 23. Ivory Joe Hunter was giving him a little cushion. And Florida continues to move the football with the exclusive passing attack.
Larry Ochab, whose nickname is Dr. O. What a Cinderella story for this young man. There are his stats, 15 of 29. The passing department, 161 yards. He was a janitor for 3 years in an apartment complex, saved money so he could get to college. Now he's a junior.
Collinsworth is to the top of the screen. Ochab has an open receiver and overthrows it. James Jones was in touchdown territory.
There is a time when Larry Ochab could have put a little more touch on the ball. He threw the ball with a very flat trajectory. Had he thrown it with more of a looping trajectory, taken a little something off of it, his receiver Jones would have been able to gather that ball in and go in for the touchdown.
You know, he's only 5 feet 9 inches tall, and that's a disadvantage when you're trying to throw that pass.
Good point. Good point.
2nd down 10 from the 23. Again, Collinsworth to the top of the screen. And he has the football and drops it. Incomplete pass. It was Keith Jones, the strong safety, who belted Collinsworth after he gathered in the football.
Watch the hit and watch to see if this ball is tipped. It appears to be tipped. Straight drop back pass, fire out protection in the line, and there is what we thought was a tip. I do not think it was tipped, however. The ball is thrown well. Collinsworth has it momentarily, and that is a hit. Some kind of stick. Right on the number.
I'll tell you, Keith Jones will do that. He is a strong safety who loves to hit. Darrell Jones now to the top of the screen as Collinsworth comes out of the game. Out of bounds. It was Monk Bonasort who had the football. He was just out of bounds. Ochab was trying to loop one, and the receiver broke the pattern off short.
Monk Bonasort, number 42. Really, his name is Francis Joseph. He got the nickname Monk by his grandmother because he was so quiet.
A walk-on who came to Florida State and wanted to be a tight end. Do you love that cover? He weighs 169 pounds.
169-pound tight end.
Now, for the third time in the game, Brian Clark will try to get the Gators on the board. This time from 40 yards out, and this time he has nailed it.
The Gators are on the board.
I'll tell you, this crowd is up and alive, 60,000 of them, as it's Florida State 10, Florida 3. Twice in the first half, this man had chances to tie the game when it was 3-0. This time he finally hit one, and look at the reaction of Brian Clark.
That's the kind of emotional energy that has kept the Gators in the football game thus far. Remember, for those of you who joined us late, they came out in their orange jerseys today.
They had practiced an onside kick yesterday, but they don't use it. This is Hardis Johnson. And the man who scored the only touchdown of the game is dumped at the 5-yard line. A 3-yard return for Hardis Johnson. Darrell Jones, number 18, made the big play downfield for Florida. Set up when Johnson bobbled the football. The Gators, wearing orange jerseys for the first time in their history today. They warmed up in blue jerseys. They went back to the locker room and were given the orange ones, a la Dan Devine, Notre Dame versus Southern Cal 2 years ago.
And it has really put a charge on both units today. The emotional energy today has been very, very high.
A lot of Gators are playing hurt, but playing courageously. Lyle gets out to the 8-yard line. Yancey Sutton made the stop from his defensive end position for Florida. Frank Holloway was also there. Holloway, number 37, a sophomore linebacker from Alexandria, Virginia, who had really started to come on last week against Kentucky before he hurt his wrist. They didn't expect him to play today, but he's in there, just as David Little has been in at the other linebacker position.
Playing with a sprained ankle.
Williams to the top of the screen. 2nd down 7. This is Michael Whiting. And he is met immediately by Fernando Jackson. I'll tell you, you picked up the papers this morning. In the entire state of Florida, you couldn't find a sports writer who thought Florida had a chance to win this game. The predictions on the score went anywhere from 42-3 up to 71-0, and the Gators are still in it. 3rd down 7. Picked off. Number 57 is Tim Golden, a junior defensive end from Fort Lauderdale who has just made his 2nd interception of the year. And this is one he'll remember a lifetime if the Gators can capitalize right now.
That is exactly right. That is the type of play that you ultimately look back on and you say, that is where the football game turned around. Watching from the end zone, you're going to be looking for number 57, Tim Golden. Play action fake to the left. Jordan sets up. He's looking back to his right. Now, watch Golden, number 57, come into your picture. Reaches up with one hand, his left hand. Pulls the ball down, and now, ideal field position for the Gators.
Ochab on 1st down. To Collinsworth, he just missed it.
Good call. I like it. Go for the home run on 1st down.
Well, they've got no running game. Might as well throw 4 times. As I mentioned, Golden's 2nd interception of the year. The first one, he ran back for a touchdown. He's a former linebacker from Fort Lauderdale who has been, without question, the steadiest defensive performer along the defensive line for the Gators all year. They've been shuffling and reshuffling their defensive lineup because of injuries. 2nd down from the 7. That one is batted away by Bobby Butler. Ochab trying to go to Darrell Jones. And there along the sidelines is the man who was expected to be the heart of the Florida defense, preseason All-American linebacker Scott Brantley from Ocala, Florida. He received a kick in the head in the 2nd game against Georgia Tech, a soft bruise on the brain, and doctors have advised him never to play football again. He's enjoying it right now as much as any of his teammates in uniform. 3rd down goal from the 7.
away. Bobby Butler was there. There again, the matchup of the 21s. Chris Collinsworth running the straight-up pattern, and we get a chance to watch this duel right here. He runs right into Butler, spins off, heads for the corner. The ball is thrown well this time, and actually Collinsworth could have caught that football. That is a catchable pass.
They're going to try another field goal. Brian Clark from the 14-yard line. No good. So the Seminoles dodge a bullet, as class football teams often do.
Poor snap from center, it appeared, which made it rough for the holder.
Bill Farr, the man who snaps the ball for Florida, and Chuck Hatch, the holder, they had difficulty.
Let's see if the snap is low. I thought it was. The snap is a little low. The holder never really has it down. There's the block right there.
Ron Simmons was the man who was there to smother the football. And I'll tell you, snapping the ball for that kind of kick and then looking up to try to handle Simmons is an almost impossible assignment. On first down from the 20. Whiting has 3 yards to the 23. 14-game winning streak on the line for Florida State.
This is an important drive for the Seminoles right now. They need to reestablish something, and they would like to have the right kind of blend of running and passing.
They were awesome last week in beating Memphis State 66-17, celebrating after they got their Orange Bowl bid. Lions, first down, out near the 40-yard line. Sonny Gilliam came up to make the stop. 16-yard pickup for Lyles. And there is one cool customer. They were down 2 touchdowns against Cincinnati with 11 minutes to go a week after beating LSU. They came back to win that game 26-21. For the past 3 years, Florida State has been one of the best fourth-quarter football teams in college football. Lyles again. Another first down into Florida territory at the 47-yard line. Again, Sonny Gilliam made the tackle. But right now, Ken Lanier, Mike Good, John Madden, the left side of the Florida State defensive or offensive line is really going to work.
Here has been the heart of the running attack. Lyles, number 48, the fullback, second career rushing leader in all of Florida State's history. Mark Lyles.
They used to complain that he didn't run hard, but he has really been coming on in recent weeks. First down from the 47. Whiting. One man to beat. Good play by the safety man to him Whiting in, and he is dropped from behind. But another first down pickup down to the 22-yard line.
Michael Whiting, the tailback, has really given some stability to this running attack. The lead block by Lyles. He gets some help on the outside, and now watch this cut as he comes back across the grain. Now has 8 rushes for 46 yards.
He also had a key block on the play from Brady King, the tight end. So Florida State leading 10-3 and now threatening at the 22 will be in command when we come back. Standing up. I'm Jim Lapley along with Lee Grosscup in Gainesville, Florida. Cupper, that's our song. Do you know it? Da 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 da.
I like it.
First down 10 from the 22. Michael Whiting cuts inside and falls forward to about the 16. Pickup of 5. Tim Golden was there. David Little made the initial stop along with Yancey Sutton.
Tim is golden right here. Here has been one of the most consistent performers for this Gator defensive alignment. Good pursuit as he comes all the way across to make the tackle.
Whiting now 9 carries for 51 yards. Oh, they're playing it for us. Second down 5. Lyles gets 3. Falling inside the 15. Little and Robin Fisher made the tackle. Whiting 9 carries for 51 yards. Lyles 15 carries for 74 yards.
Where's Jim McKay?
That's the Florida State band under the direction of Jim McKay. Sonny Gilliam that time was there to come.
Jackie Flowers, one of the good receivers they have ever had, is matched up with Sonny Gilliam, number 43. And that looked like a little push there in the short end zone.
Well, he's a smart receiver. So on 3rd and a yard, they went for the whole ball of wax.
That's something we've talked about. They do not consider that a running situation.
And now Davey Capellan will try to stretch the lead to 13-3, kicking a 30-yard attempt into the wind. Florida defense jumping around, and again, Florida State has to call timeout. That is the second time on a field goal attempt that Rick Stocksville, the holder, has looked up at the official and called timeout, exasperated, as Charlie Pell's defenders have done a good job of throwing them off balance in that situation. Coming up next on NCAA College Football, live at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, immediately following this telecast, Texas Tech versus Houston. Houston still in the running for the Cotton Bowl. Texas Tech with their big fullback, James Hadnot. Vern Lundquist and Steve Davis are down there waiting, and our greetings to them.
There's a couple guys to be able to say some things about those two football teams. Vern lives right there in Texas, and what better man to talk about option football than Steve Davis?
Pitch the ball, Davis. Capellan's kick is no good. Score remains 10-3. Florida is still within a touchdown of 5th-ranked Florida State. Winless Florida against unbeaten Florida State. And the Gators are hanging as tough as you can possibly imagine. There's Capellan, who has had a rough day. 7 minutes, 15 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. And the Gators start with first down at the 20-yard line. Collinsworth is to the bottom of your screen. This is the slot man, James Jones. Or check it, Faulkner. Number 80, Chris Faulkner from Arcadia, Indiana. Bobby Butler knocked him out of bounds, but not before the 17-yard pickup.
Chris Faulkner at the left of your screen in the slot is a redshirt freshman who just showed up on campus and said that he wanted to play football. He does a little swing out pattern. There along the sidelines to make the tackle once again is Bobby Butler.
Boy, that Butler is a sure tackle.
Yes.
First down from the 37. Jonell Brown is met right at the line of scrimmage by Ron Simmons.
Now we can see some of the quickness and the upper body strength of number 50, Ron Simmons. Premier nose guard in America right now. Two guys get a shot at him, and look what he does to him. He takes them both down, winds up making the tackle on number 14, Jonell Brown.
Simmons is 6 feet 1 inches, 234 pounds, will probably play linebacker in professional football. A remarkable nose guard for Florida State. Second down 10. Incomplete. Intended for Kurt Garrett. Ochab now 16 of 37, 179 yards, 3 interceptions.
Ron Simmons is literally a one-man gang. His upper body strength is so awesome. We talked about his strength. And he bench presses now 535 pounds, which to me is just amazing.
Darrell Jones to the top of the screen. Spencer Jackson to the bottom. On third down. This is Monk Bonasort who dropped the football. And there is a rare sight.
Monk Bonasort nearly had interception number 9. He was tied nationally 2 weeks ago. 8 interceptions ties the FSU record.
Now, Larry Ochab was limping when he came to the bench, and we watched Ron Simmons.
Ron Simmons, once again, as we were isolated on him, blows by one man, blows by a second, and really gets a shot on Larry Ochab.
On over to punt for Florida. They tried to rush him. He got the kick away. This is Gary Henry. Henry got away from the first man and got out to the 21. Conover, the punter, went down after the kick and looked up to try to get the roughing the kicker call.
Let's watch closely and see if we get an Academy Award for this performance right here. Very good method acting.
Go ahead, Chief. Give it away. Bring it.
No!
First down for Florida State at the 21-yard line. That man is headed to Studio 54. Jackie Flowers to the top of the screen. Whiting. Cannot say enough about the play of the Florida defensive line today. This time it was Robin Fisher, the sophomore nose guard from Satellite Beach. Most of the players on both ball clubs come from here in the state of Florida, a state which now produces high school football talent comparable to that of Southern California, Texas, Eastern Ohio, and Western Pennsylvania, the other great recruiting areas of the country. There are 100 major schools recruiting the state of Florida now. Lyles, one of the rare exceptions, from Buffalo, New York. He gets out to about the 24 before, again, Robin Fisher made the tackle. 5 minutes, 29 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Florida State was expected to blow the game open early. They have not been able to do it. Charlie Bell can gain a huge dose of satisfaction at the end of what has been an extremely disappointing season if his Gators can hang in and pull off the upset. 5 defensive backs on third down and 8. That's Hardis Johnson. Let the football get away from him. He was open. He was in front of Sonny Gilliam.
Good route, and the ball was thrown a little bit low that time by Jimmy Jordan. That's the kind of protection that Florida State has given most of the year. Good protection that time.
And Chuck Hatch, the strong safety man for Florida, is down back deep in the Florida secondary. Florida State is now 1 of 12 in third down conversions in the ball game. With their passing attack, you expect a much better efficiency rate on third down. There's a good football player as he comes off the field.
Our most valuable player 2 weeks ago in the ball game against Georgia. He was literally all over the field that day.
Next Friday night, live at 8 o'clock Eastern Time from Las Vegas, sensational Sugar Ray Leonard goes for the WBC World Welterweight Championship against Wilfredo Benitez. We'll talk more about it after this punt. Ron Stark keeps the kick it for Florida State. Collinsworth calls fair catch and makes it. Florida has managed to play the field position game well all day, and again they'll be in good shape at their own 47. So it's Leonard. First as an Olympic champion, you saw him. Now he is an undefeated pro, and he goes for the world welterweight title against unbeaten Wilfredo Benitez. Leonard is 25-0. Benitez, of course, was the youngest world champion in boxing history at 17. That's next Friday night live at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, part of a very interesting card from Las Vegas, and we hope you'll watch it. Ochab on first down. Wants Garrett. Well out of bounds. One photographer takes it on the nose as Monk Bunnasort follows Garrett out of bounds.
He got himself a real close-up there. And ECU.
It was Jeremy Mindlin, number 77, who was in pressuring Ochab.
He's going to feel that tomorrow, it looks like.
The word on Chuck Hatch, he was suffering cramps. No serious problem. We'll expect to see him back. 2 wide receivers to the top of the screen on second down 10. Simmons gets to Ochab, but not before he releases the ball in the flat. And that is Terry Williams, the fullback, who was across midfield with the ball before Reggie Herring dropped it.
Another look at this big Hosset nose guard. Ron Simmons gets rid of the man over him and takes another shot on Larry Ochab. But Dr. O gets the last laugh because he ends up completing the pass. However, it won't feel so good tomorrow.
I'll tell you, Simmons has beaten a tattoo on Ochab's body, and Ochab is hanging in. 3 wide receivers to the bottom of the screen, 1 to the top. Collinsworth steps in front of Garrett to make the catch for Florida, down to the 40-yard line, a Gator first down. They had Scott Warren, the defensive end, matched against Collinsworth, and Ochab found him.
Chris Collinsworth Ellsworth isolated this time, lines up in the slot. Watch his route. He goes down about 10 to 12 yards and curls to the inside. Actually, it's more of a hook than a curl in. He hooks and then comes back to the outside, and the ball is delivered beautifully.
First down from the 40. This time the three wide receivers are to the top of the screen. Batted down at the line of scrimmage. Number 67, Mark Motzek, the junior defensive tackle from Wyandotte, Michigan, was the man who aborted the pass attempt. Beautiful sunny day. The heat should not become a factor for these teams because they're used to playing in it and working out in it. 3:28 to go in the third quarter. Second down 10 from the Florida State 40. Jones to the top of the screen, Garrett to the bottom. Ochab cannot get away from Scott Warren. Warren normally drops off against the spread formation. This time he was coming all the way, and the Gators did not have a blocker for him.
And the blitz was on. The linebackers came that time.
16-yard loss.
This is what it looks like from ground level when you're a quarterback, and this is one of the occupational hazards of playing that position. There are big guys who want to get a piece of your body.
Scott Warren, a senior from Titusville, Florida, played high school ball with Chris Collinsworth, as did Reggie Harris. And on third down, they go with the Statue of Liberty play. Janelle Brown coming back to take the handoff. He gets only to the 48 before Reggie Herring and Jeremy Mindland are there to stop him for Florida State. So another Gator drive ends, and Bill Conover will punt. Gary Henry goes back deep to receive for the Seminoles. He's standing inside his 20. Booming punt by Conover out of the end zone, and that is a 53-yard boot. Florida State will start from the 20-yard line. This week on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, live at 9 o'clock Eastern Time Monday night, New York Jets against Seattle Seahawks in an American Football Conference game. Then Thursday night, special edition of NFL football on ABC, 8:30 Eastern Time. New England Patriots against Miami Dolphins. New England in first place in the AFC East. Miami in second place. Crucial game for the division lead. Note the special time, 8:30 Eastern Time Thursday night. On first down for Florida State, Jordan throws it into the hands of Bill Fiorillo. And it was Jimmy Jordan who knocked Fiorillo out of bounds at the 2-yard line. A 32-yard interception run back. There was no receiver in the area. Jackie Flowers had turned in toward the middle of the field. Jordan was throwing a long out. And this is a big play.
Jordan's play-action pass is going to be looking to his outside. He thinks that Flowers is running an out cut, and he throws the ball right into the hands of number 27, Bill Ferrero. And there he goes, apparently to the end zone. Good save by Jordan.
First and goal at the 4-yard line. Remember, Florida does not have the capacity in most instances to punch it in on the ground. Only one rushing touchdown all year. Last time with first and goal at the 7, they threw on every play. The give was to Carl Freelow, the junior running back from Jacksonville, number 39, and he was stopped right at the line of scrimmage. And there's a happy man, Bill Fiorillo, former walk-on. A junior from Coral Gables, Florida.
Actually, one of their best running plays is when Ochab keeps the ball himself on the option.
Two tight ends, full house backfield. Second and goal from the 3. They got it. Carl Freelow. If you have joined us recently, strap on your seatbelt and stay with us. You may be sitting in on the biggest upset of this college football season. Brian Clark hammers the ball through for Florida, and with 1 minute, 28 seconds to go in the third quarter, the Gators have tied Florida State at 10-10.
This is a good play in a goal line situation. The power on. And look at the lead block by both lead back as Carl Preload takes it in on the blast play. Look at the blocking up front. Ron Simmons gets taken out. And there comes Preload.
That was the key, was the effective double team on Simmons by Farr and Wally Huff at the line of scrimmage. They managed to hold him off long enough for Preload to slip by and go into the end zone. There's Larry Ochab, who led the drive. It was a scoring drive of 4 yards in 2 plays after the interception and 32-yard run back by Bill Furillo.
You think emotion doesn't play a part in football games?
I'll tell you. You look at the problems that Florida has had this year. Charlie Pell thought they would have a respectable football team this year. What he couldn't foresee was an injury to Mark Midden, the starting offensive guard, an injury to Ray Lawrence, the starting center, an injury to both cornerbacks, Kyle Coburn and Skipper Peak. He lost his best running back, Darrell Williams. He lost an All-America linebacker, Scott Brantley. He lost the starting quarterback, John Brantley. He lost an All-Southeastern Conference defensive tackle. And they are hanging in against the 5th-ranked team in the country. And there's a man who has faced pressure like this before, Bobby Bowden. There are the statistics on the drive. Mention again, it was set up by Jordan's second interception of this half, and now it is going to be Wally Woodham at quarterback for Florida State.
Wally Woodham, as we pointed out, likes the short game, and he likes the running game more.
First down from the 20-yard line. This is Michael White. Across the 35 to the 36-yard line, Sonny Gilliam made the stop for Florida.
They would like to reestablish some consistency in their attack. They did not have it with Jordan, and this might be the first time that Jimmy Jordan has ever played poorly on TV.
On their last drive, they moved the ball extremely effectively on the ground. Then on 3rd and 1 at the 15, they elected to try to go for the touchdown. Missed it, missed the field goal. And Florida has come back to tie it since then. Whiting again on the pitch sweep to the left side. This time gets out near midfield before Sonny Gilliam and Doc Lucky drag him down. There are the statistics on the 2 Florida State quarterbacks, Wally Woodham and Jimmy Jordan. Jordan got him going at the end of the first half through the touchdown pass to Harness Johnson. But Jimmy Jordan's weakness as a quarterback is that he does not always read well. Tries to force the ball into coverage. Will throw interceptions. This time, Florida was ready for the pitch sweep to the left side. Robin Fisher reacted over from his nose guard position, and Joe Boer, senior defensive end, was also there.
There appeared to be some hesitation on the part of the fullback in throwing his lead block.
Crucial element in that sweep. Time in the 3rd quarter running out. Florida State will get the wind in the 4th quarter. I think if I were Woodham, I'd let it run out. He does. So, we have completed 3 quarters of play in Gainesville, Florida. We are dead even. Florida State 10. As you look at Bobby Bowden on the other sideline, they have been close in the 4th quarter many times. They were close against LSU. They were close against Houston. They were close against Mississippi State. They were close against Tulsa. They lost all those ball games. We'll see if they run out of gas here. 2nd down 12 for Florida State. Woodham. Complete to Grady King, but the tight end, who had a lot of room, could he turn around, fell down on the Florida 44-yard line, well short of a first down. Mike Ricketts came up to touch him from his linebacker position, but that was after King's knee had hit the ground long since. Florida State has entered this game unbeaten in the 21-year history of the rivalry. 6 times Florida has beaten them to apply the first loss. You never dreamed it would happen that way today. 3rd down 4. Woodham finds Michael Whiting inside the 40 to the 36. Murillo and Jackson made the stop, and you wonder about the difference in the 2 quarterbacks. That is the kind of pass that Woodham throws well, and Jimmy Jordan does not.
Excellent point. It really points out the difference in the 2 of them. Play action pass, throwing to one of his backs. As we look at an injured player.
That is Doc Lucky. Doc Lucky, who has come back from Charlie Pell's doghouse to play very well today. Being helped off the field. Doesn't look too badly hurt to me.
May just be another case of cramp.
The Tupper, the point about Woodham and Jordan.
I think that you really pointed out something very good there, in that they really have contrasting styles. Woodham likes the short game, the intermediate game. He's very good at mixing up his runs and play action passes. Jordan is more of your true gunner, drop back throwing. He likes the intermediate and the long game.
First down from the 36-yard line. That is Lyon. Amazing that he held on to the football, because number 54, Jones, was right there to hit him as soon as he got to the line of scrimmage. Van Jones, a reserve defensive tackle who is not on our depth chart, made a heck of a play there. Now he leads the game, and we'll see if Lucky came back on. 2nd down 9. Lyles again. Pick up a 4. Jim Chris stopped him along with David Little, and that will bring up 3rd down. NCAA college football tomorrow. Doubleheader excitement live at 12:30 Eastern time. Most of you will be seeing Nebraska versus Oklahoma, the showdown for the Big 8 title every year since 1971. And the winner of that game between 2nd-ranked Nebraska and 7th-ranked Oklahoma will play Florida State in the Orange Bowl. Other games along with that regional: LSU, Tulane, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Nevada, Reno, Northern Arizona, and Massachusetts, Boston College. Second half of the doubleheader: Brigham Young, San Diego State, or in LA, UCLA, USC. Now on 3rd down, Woodham wants to throw. Big catch, Brady King. And the Florida State tight end is out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Mike Ricketts knocked him out of bounds, but this keeps the drive alive.
This points out again the contrast in the styles of the 2 quarterbacks. Once again, utilizing his tight end, Brady King, on a crossing pattern, coming all the way from left to right. Excellent over-the-shoulder catch, good hand-eye coordination.
That senior tight end from Satellite Beach has shown us something today. 1st down 10 from the 20-yard line. Lyles. He got there.
Beautifully conceived drive by Bobby Bowden and Wally Woodham.
The right side of the Florida State offensive line. Greg Butch at guard, Tom Brannon at tackle. They set the trap. Lyles plowed through it and went 20 yards for the touchdown. That has put Florida State back on top. Capellan booms the extra point through. And with 12:31 to go, the Seminoles have taken the lead again, 17-10.
This is right off the drawing board. Watch the fake pitch to the tailback, the give to Mark Lyles, the fullback. Perfect blocking, particularly by Good and Lanier on the right side. And boom, into the end zone goes fullback Mark Lyles.
Number 1 in the nation.
There are the statistics on Lyles for the day. 4th time this season over 100 yards. And there are the statistics on the scoring drive, which was the most effective offensive series of the day for the Seminoles. Bill Capice bombs the ball deep into the end zone. Janelle Brown downs it. Florida will start at the 20-yard line. The Gators trailing 17-10.
We will be choosing, of course, a most valuable
to the bottom of the screen. Ochab released the football, and it was Ron Simmons who belted Ochab before he had a fair chance to throw. What are they going to call it? Number 76, Walter Carter had the football. And it is an interception for Walter Carter. Fourth interception of the day, but watch Ron Simmons.
Here once again is the man who makes it happen, a one-man gang. Ron Simmons takes out two blockers, goes for the quarterback. There's the ball up in the air. And I can't tell you what the heck happened.
Well, Walter Carter, 76, wound up with the football, and it was impossible to tell from that angle whether he went down and got it off the ground or caught it before it touched the ground. But it is called an interception for Florida State. Gator fans don't like it. We're going to look again from our end zone camera right after this play. Woodham doesn't want another delay of game call, so he goes ahead and runs the play, and Lyles busts it down to the 3-yard line.
Now we can take a look from a different vantage point at what happens with number 50, Ron Simmons, and his collision, which sets up the interception. There is the ball in midair, and it definitely hits the ground. So if they are ruling that an interception, that is a very bad call.
So an unfortunate call goes against the Florida Gators and sets up Florida at the 10-yard line. Now 2nd and goal from the 3. Give it to Lyles again. And this time he's met. Number 59 is Jim Chris. 69 who came over to help Dan Fife.
Some of the contact that we have been seeing today along that Florida defensive line, you've talked about it, it has been awesome. That has been the difference.
3rd down goal now from the 2-yard line. Chris was shaken up a bit on that play, but he stayed in the game. Mike Good jumps offside. Very experienced player, a starter for 4 years. The senior offensive guard, number 69 from Sanford, probably affected by the crowd noise, jumped offside for FSU.
Needless to say, the Gator fans are not pleased with that call. It was a really bad call.
Good is representative of the turnaround in the Florida State program. He is one of 7 players that Bobby Bowden inserted into the starting lineup as freshmen 4 years ago in the 3rd game of their careers at Oklahoma, against Oklahoma. Call that baptism by fire. And as you look at a disappointed Charlie Pell on the sidelines trying to rearrange his defense, his timeout. We'll be back after this. A year ago, that man was a big winner at Clemson, Charlie Pell. This year, 0-8-1. If they don't win today here at home against Florida State, they have one more chance against Miami next week. The jet lag factor. Miami's in Tokyo today. 3rd down goal from the 8-yard line after the offside call against Florida State. They give it to Lyles, and he's short. He gets down to the 2-yard line. Interesting call, and it almost works.
Same call they scored with moments ago. They fake the pitch to the tailback, give the ball to the fullback, straight blocking in the line, and then it's just a matter of Lyles picking his way.
Now it's 4th down inside the 2, and we see no sign of Davey Capella. And this time the timeout is called by Florida State. Both teams have only one timeout remaining, and we still have 11 minutes to go in the football game. So that could become a factor down the stretch. Woodham goes over to talk to Bobby Bowden. And on the near sideline, Charlie Pell confers with his defensive captain. Remember, stay tuned immediately following the conclusion of this game for Texas Tech against Houston. And a very important Southwest Conference game. Now they have decided to go for the field goal. And it is Capice. Capice, the kickoff kicker, who is in to attempt it rather than Capella. A rare move by Bowden. Capice knocks it through. So, a little bit of insurance for Florida State as they stretch the lead to 20-10. Remember that field goal was set up by a very questionable interception call. We've got 10 minutes, 46 seconds left. Here's another look at the questionable interception play which set up the field goal.
Larry Ochap hit hard right there by Ron Simmons, and the ball hits the ground, but they rule that William Carter, number 76, has an interception. If that is so, it's an atrocious call.
Ochap's arm was definitely in motion. I don't think you could call it a fumble. Official statistics has ruled it an interception, and we have just gotten a confirmation from the officials on the field that they felt it was an interception also. Well, no doubt about it, that is an incorrect call. You saw the ball touch the field. And there is the man who was penalized by that call, Charlie Pell, coach of the Florida Gators.
Being the competitor that he is, he has to be angry.
Now, 4 men deep in kick-receiving formation for Florida, and this time it is not Jonell Brown in the middle, but rather Darrell Jones. Capice hits the kickoff, and they watch it sail out of the end zone.
The wind is definitely with Florida State in this fourth quarter.
The flag is slack right now, so the wind has died down a little bit, and that is to the advantage of Larry Ochap. You can see that Florida still has more passing yardage in the ball game, but in the second half, the Florida State running game behind Lyles and Whiting and the blocking of Druid and Lanier has started to control the tempo. Jonell Brown. 8-yard gain on what may be the longest running play of the day for Florida. It is.
Jonell Brown, who we talked about at the top of our show, a freshman quarterback who has been moved back to the tailback position, is the leading rusher on the team. He has a lot of talent, and he throws better than his statistics would indicate.
Second down 3 from the 27-yard line. Spread formation for the Gators. They give it to the fullback, Terry Williams, and he's got a lot of room. Gary Henry is the only man who can catch it. Gary Henry knocks Williams out of bounds at the 22-yard line. A 51-yard pickup for Terry Williams.
What a shocker this is. You can see that Florida State has moved into an even defense. It's just a straight pop up the middle. Terry Williams veers to his left, finds all kinds of daylight, and here is the save that Jim Lampley spoke of. Gary Henry, number 40, 10th in punt returns in the country, comes out to make the save.
Longest running play of the year for Florida in 10 games. That is their best effort. Flag is down as Jonell Brown had the football. Last week against Kentucky, Florida was held to 28 yards in 27 running plays, and their longest running play from scrimmage was 6 yards.
Just moments ago, they were minus yardage in the rushing department, and suddenly they have turned it around.
I hate to keep harping on how bad the injury situation has been for them, but you know that they have not started the same lineup in 2 consecutive games on either offense or defense all year.
It's been like General Hospital. And Florida has been playing by Murphy's Law.
Offside call against Florida State. So don't count the Gators out yet. It's 20-10. 9 minutes, 52 seconds to go. Collinsworth to the bottom of the screen, 2 tight ends. On 1st and 5, this is Carl Freelow. And suddenly, Florida has a running game. He got 4 yards and is a yard short of a first down before Monk Bonasort made the tackle. It looks like a cast list from Apocalypse Now. Do you suppose they're all paid as extras? That's just part. That's only part of the list. Second down, a yard to go for the first down. Ochap dropped the football trying to make the exchange with Terry Williams, and now they'll face a 3rd down and 3 yards to go.
And now let's see, after establishing the run, if Larry Ochap elects to go with some type of play-action pass.
Well, I really don't think that the Seminoles are going to be thinking run on 3rd and 3, though, against this club. Third down conversions in the ball game. Florida is 3 for 15. The ball is at the 16-yard line. They need to get it inside the 13. That will, in all likelihood, make it 3rd down 8.
Well, we don't have to debate because it's not going to be 3rd and 3 anymore. It's going to be 3rd and 8.
45 yards in penalties against Florida.
Very obvious illegal procedure. We see the movement right here.
Everybody moved except Farr, the center, and he's the one who gets hurt in that situation because he's got Simmons
right on his face.
Can you believe that Ron Simmons was left off the ballot for the Football Writers All-America team?
That's pretty incredible. However, he did make the Coaches All-America team and the Football News All-America team.
Bobby Butler made the play, guarding Kurt Garrett downfield. Garrett wanted the interference call, and Butler waves his hand in the air triumphantly.
A look from the vantage point of the field level. Ochap trying to throw the slant-in route, and there once again is a man who has been very busy today, a gifted all-around athlete, number 21, Bobby Butler, who has done a lot of man-on-man coverage on some good receivers.
Let me ask you something. Have you seen him out of position a single time today?
He's always been close. Always been very close.
Clark trying a 38-yard field goal. It's up, and he missed it wide to the right. The wind may have been a factor. It had picked up slightly in the past few plays. So Brian Clark misses for the 3rd time today. That message, Caroline, is from Bobby, in case you're wondering which of your boyfriends misses you.
Bobby who?
You know, Bobby. All right, Florida State has the football at the 21. They've got 7 minutes and 56 seconds left. And this time, Florida calls timeout. Now, the Gators have just used their last timeout with still nearly 8 minutes to go. And with Florida State leading 20-10, we'll be back. We're back at Florida Field. Let me correct one thing I said before we went away, that Brian Clark of Florida had missed 3 field goals during the ball game. He has missed 4. So those 4 field goal opportunities are the difference between trailing 20-10 and being ahead of the ball game. On 1st down from the 21, Florida State goes with Lyles, and he gets it out to the 25. Tim Golden made the stop, and we're going to see a lot of Mark Lyles, number 48, for the next 5 minutes.
That is exactly what they want to do on this drive, is keep the ball on the ground. They need to get some first downs. The key to that running attack is number 48, Mark Lyles, and that particular play, the fake pitch with the give to the fullback, has been the bulk of their running attack here in the second half.
Lyles is 6 feet 4 inches, 225 pounds. You heard Lee Groscup say earlier he's the 2nd leading rusher in Florida State history. This is Lyles across the 30, perhaps a first down. It is a Seminole first down across the 31. And Lyles now in the ball game, 24 carries, 125 yards. Jackie Flowers to the top of the screen, Hardis Johnson to the bottom. Fighting. Another first down. Out to the 42-yard line, Tim Groves. Reserve free safety. And the man who, at one point earlier in the season, was the starting quarterback for Florida, made the tackle.
Just the type of play you want in this situation, the quintessential play to the tailback, the pitch, student body right. Mike Michael Whiting takes advantage of it and gets the first down.
Whiting now has 92 yards in the ball game as he approaches 100. Lyles falling forward for 3 yards. He was met at the line of scrimmage, but the Florida State offensive line has begun to wear down the Florida front. Fernando Jackson and Frank Holloway, the two linebackers, made the stop. There's Larry Ochab. He is a gutty player. Taken a lot of punishment. He's going to wake up tomorrow with a big number 50 on his chest.
Willie Evans. He has gotten to know Ron Simmons very well.
Second down, 8 yards to go. Whiting cuts upfield, keeping the ball inbounds, keeping the clock moving. He gets to the Florida 48. Robin Fisher made the stop. It will be third down and 2 yards to go for a first down.
Wally Woodham coming off the bench after Jimmy Jordan intercepted has really reestablished some stability in the attack. Much more consistency and a much greater mixture of plays than we were seeing with Jordan.
Next year, it is entirely likely that Jimmy Jordan will be playing in the National Football League and Wally Woodham will be finishing up schoolwork at Florida State. Michael Whiting ducks inside, and he is short of the first down. But of the two quarterbacks, Woodham has more frequently been the starter for Florida State during their 3-year reign.
Jordan, the man who more frequently has come off the bench. However, in that ball game against Cincinnati 2 weeks ago, when the score was 21-7, it was Wally Woodham who came off and rescued the team.
Fourth down, 3 yards to go. Ron Stark ready to punt for Florida State. Chris Collinsworth deep to receive from Florida. The breeze is blowing very briskly behind Stark. He gets it away, and it is a boomer. Collinsworth will let it go into the end zone, and it does. So a 49-yard kick for Ron Stark. And the Gators will start with the football at their 20-yard line. 4 minutes, 29 seconds left. This program is being brought to you as an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. Now let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves. Those of you who might have joined us late, we are in the closing minutes at Florida Field in Gainesville, where our 5th-ranked and unbeaten Florida State is trying to hold off arch-rival Florida. On first down, Ochab throws deep. Again, it is Bobby Butler who is there with Garrett to knock the ball away. Houston and Texas Tech will be coming along next as soon as we finish matters here. Florida State jumped out to a 3-0 lead. They made it 10-0 11 seconds before halftime on a Jimmy Jordan to Hardis Johnson touchdown pass. Florida came back in the third quarter to tie the game at 10-10. Then Florida State with Wally Woodham reinserted at quarterback, went 80 yards to jump back on top 17-10. Second down. Johnny Gaffney. And Gaffney was in position in front of Gary Henry for the first down catch. Pick up of 15 yards.
19 of 46 in the passing department now for Ochab as we look at Gaffney on a deep hook pattern, and there is the pass right on target. The most passes ever thrown in one ball game by a Florida quarterback was John Reeves, who threw 66 times against Auburn in 1969.
This is Chris Faulkner. And Faulkner stumbles down inside the 35 to the 31-yard line. Ivory Joe Hunter finally stopped him. If Faulkner had been able to gain his feet, he would have had much more yardage.
Fake play action right here. Play action fake, and here comes Chris Faulkner on a crossing pattern. And let's watch to see what Jim Lampley was just talking about. Had he regained his balance right there, he may have been able to make a cutaway and go into the end zone.
First down from the 31. Still time. 3 minutes, 34 seconds. Dr. O, Larry Ochab, reads the blitz, gets rid of the ball, but throws it in the flat short of tight end James Jones. It was Scott Warren who was coming with the blitz. Ochab stared him right in the face and delivered the football into the flat.
out, but his receiver ran a deep out.
Larry Ochab on the day, 20 of 48, 241 yards, 4 interceptions. Darrell Jones to the top of the screen. He is the farthest away of 3 wide receivers. Collinsworth. Bobby Butler knocks it away.
What a sensational job of one-on-one coverage by that man, number 21, Bobby Butler, who consistently has run right along with Chris Collinsworth and Kurt Garrett. Let's watch him fight for the football right now. Here's the battle of the 2 number 21. One of those is 6'4", the other one is 5'11". There he is step for step, and there's the fight for the football. Neither one comes up with it, but it's good defense.
They have a history of cornerbacks here at Florida State. Kerry Jackson's in the NFL. So is J.T. Thomas. Bobby Butler may be the next. Blitz. Reggie Herring was the man who came on the blitz. Ron Simmons was the man who got to Ochab first. A loss of 9. On 3rd and 10, they were coming all the way.
Reggie Herring, number 39, the leading tackler on the team, came on the blitz. He was no fish on that foot.
Is that a red herring?
Not a red snap.
Well, 4th down, 19. If you look at the big picture for Florida, you've got to go for it right now.
What is the big picture? Is that like a cosmic overview?
Close 10. Got it away as he was being belted to the ground. The flag goes down. If it's interference against Florida State, it will keep this drive alive. One official is pointing to the other. The other official's pointing back. On the far side of the field, we'll see what the call is going to be. Offensive interference against Florida State.
One more look here, and we'll see at the 25-yard line if we can pick up the defensive interference. There was the push by number 21, Bobby Butler.
You know, it's fascinating to me. I don't want to criticize the officials in this instance, but he plays pass defense like that all the time. Uses his hand to read the position of the receiver. In that instance, they chose to call it.
It's kind of like the holding call.
Kept the drive alive at the 25-yard line. Again, Florida State came with the blitz. This time, reserve defensive end Scott McLean was coming. Again, Ochab read it, but he threw it behind John L. Brown. Houston, Texas Tech coming up next. If you tuned in for that ball game, stick with us. You'll see it. Ochab has thrown 50 times in the ball game.
John Reeves threw 66 times.
Against Auburn, 1969.
You got that memorized.
9 interceptions. He's got him. Faulkner, touchdown.
Circus catch. Remarkable catch. Great scramble by Larry Ochab.
Charlie Pell prepares to make a decision on the extra point as the Gators pummel Chris Faulkner in the end zone. Gary Henry, number 40, was the man who was back there with him. Faulkner had the breathing space.
Watch an amazing play by Dr. O. Larry Ochab, the Cinderella quarterback, scrambling, throwing on the dead run to his right. Chris Faulkner, the tight end, has gotten deep and beaten Henry, number 40, juggling, falling, sprawling catch in the end zone. Remarkable play.
And now Florida calls timeout to determine what to do with the extra point. They don't have a timeout. They can't do it.
That is the smile of victory right there.
He made the same kind of juggling touchdown catch against Georgia.
Here's the tail end of the play. The juggling catch in the end zone. Good hand-eye coordination as Faulkner, falling to the ground, hangs onto the football.
Delay of game penalty against Florida moves the ball back to the 8-yard line, and they eliminate any chance they had to go for 2 points. A lot tougher from 8 yards than it is from 3. But he's got to go for 2, I would think. A tie is little satisfaction for a team that hasn't won a game all year. And they're going to do it.
Good call. Good call.
Garrett to the bottom of the screen. Tried to go to Johnny Gaffney on the slant, and Ivory Joe Hunter was right there. So only a touchdown can do Florida any good. But we've still got 2 minutes and 21 seconds left, and the Seminoles are not out of the woods yet.
They do have a couple of onside kicks. One is the conventional onside kick. One is the Texas Leaguer type, where they put it over the first line and try to get in there with some speedy guys and recover the football. If they do that, they would still have about 2 minutes left, and Ochab is hot right now.
It was the Texas Leaguer that they were practicing yesterday afternoon.
Yep.
Trying to catch it in the air. The man who is assigned to try to catch the football is number 22, Derek Burgess, if he is on the field. Burgess has sore ribs and may not be out there. It is Burgess. He will be to the bottom of your screen, the far right side of the kickoff lineup. No question in my mind they're going to try it. I don't know about you, Cupper.
So he is the designated catcher.
We'll try to get our director, Larry Cam, to put an isolated camera on Derek Burgess, number 22, at the bottom of the screen. There he is. Brian Clark gets ready to kick it off. Here they come. They shift to the right side. This is going to be the sky kick. They got it. Darrell Jones has the football, number 18. Darrell Jones has the football inside the Florida State 45. Now the officials may rule against them.
This is a beautiful kick. That is great touch. And here comes Jones. What an amazing play.
They are going to rule that Darrell Jones interfered with a fair catch call. You can see that the Florida State player called for a fair catch, and Jones took the football away. Now, it was number 30 for Florida State who signaled for the fair catch. It was number 11 who stepped up to try to catch the football. And 11 is the man with whom Darrell Jones made contact. 11 is the third-string quarterback, Rick Stockstill, whom Bowden plays on special teams. 30 was waving. Stockstill made the catch. Jones took it away from him. What do you think, Cupper?
Been one of those days, one of those years for Florida.
So it's Florida State ball after the 15-yard penalty against Florida for interfering with the fair catch attempt, and the crowd doesn't like it. Michael Whiting gets down to the 32-yard line. Robin Fisher made the stop for Florida. Pickup of 8. It will be second down 2.
Charlie Pell kept talking about how close he was yesterday, all year long, to having wins. And it's the same situation today. A man who has truly experienced every type of frustration imaginable during the 1979 football season.
Jackie Flowers to the bottom of the screen. Phil Williams to the top. The man to watch is Lyles, number 48. And there he is. Inside the 15 to the 13-yard line before Juan Collins made the stop. On the day, Mark Lyles now has 145 yards in 27 carries. We will be choosing Chevrolet Most Valuable Players for both schools. A $1,000 scholarship in the name of each will go to the General Scholarship Fund of his university, and then on to a deserving student or students in the student body. Whiting gets outside and is knocked out of bounds at the 6-yard line. Sonny Gilliam made the tackle. Secondary hit by Fernando Jackson. Pickup of 6. most valuable players right now, because we may not have time at the end of the ball game. We'll have those for you in a second. Minute and 13 left. First down, and I'll check it. Second and a yard at the 3. Lyles has a touchdown. So that will wrap it up. And for the first time all day, Bobby Bowden breathes a sigh of relief, as do the Orange Bowl committee members. Bill Capice will try to add the extra point to stretch it to 27-16. FSU fans who are in this end of the field where the Seminoles have just scored a touchdown, now flooding the field with oranges. And for Charlie Pell, one more game against Miami next week. Capice knocks it through. It's 27-16. We've got a minute and 10 still left on the clock. When we finish matters here, you'll be going directly to the Astrodome in Houston for Texas Tech versus Houston. The score now, Florida State unbeaten and apparently going to remain that way. 27. Florida winless, but certainly deserving of a better fate today. 16.
Who do you like for Chevy players?
Well, I think for Florida State, with a nod of the head towards the great effort of Mark Lyles today, you have to pick Ron Simmons, number 50, the middle guard who has controlled the line of scrimmage.
I agree. The man is just awesome in the middle. He is the consummate nose guard, and he's really kind of a one-man gang. Even when he doesn't make the tackle himself, he is such an intimidating force.
Outside of Rich Glover in his senior year at Nebraska, I don't know if I've ever seen a better nose guard in college football.
I agree.
And for Florida, who do you like, Cupper?
Well, I like Dr. O. He kept him in there all day long, really a scrapper. He looked Ron Simmons in the teeth quite a few times. But his stats are impressive. 21 of 51, 266 yards, 1 touchdown. However, he did suffer 4 interceptions.
One of those was tipped. One of them was not really an interception.
Yep.
And I'll go along with that. So the Chevrolet most valuable players are Simmons for Florida State, Ochap for Florida. 21 of 51, not great percentage, but Ochap was throwing on every down because Florida can't run the ball effectively. There's Ron Simmons from Warner Robins, Georgia, lining up for the last minute and 10 seconds of play. And there is Dr. O, Larry Ochap, going back. Donnell Brown goes out of bounds. The Gators have not quit. Ivory Joe Hunter ran him out. Well, things are being thoroughly rebuilt here at Florida. Charlie Pell has a 5-year contract. Bill Carr, the new athletic director, is the youngest athletic director at any major school in the country. They set a new season ticket sales record this year, 44,000 season ticket holders. So they have a future to look forward to. Ochap's pass is incomplete. The future is right now for that man. Bobby Bowden, who turned 50 this year, whose first grandchild was born 3 days ago, and who is right now nursing home the Seminoles at the end of what will be an unbeaten regular season, 11-0. Right now, Scott Warren is down. The Seminoles' outstanding defensive end is being looked at by Florida State trainer. And we'll have a report on him when we come back right after this. 58 seconds left as Larry Ochap drops back. And this is Paul Purowski. Seminole linebacker picks off an interception, the 5th interception of the day for Florida State. Gets it back to the 16-yard line before Phil Farr made the tackle. An 18-yard run back.
Larry Ochap, who we just chose as our most valuable player for Chevrolet, is trying to throw down the middle. And here is a man who has been the second leading tackler on the team this season, number 53, Paul Purowski, who along with Reggie Herring has really given them an outstanding tandem of linebackers.
I'd like to mention 2 other players for Florida. I talked about Lyles as the runner-up for Florida State for the Chevy Most Valuable Player honors. Yancey Sutton, number 50, coming off of an injury, played sensationally today at defensive end for Florida. And Chris Collinsworth has been a factor all day. Reverse, Sam Platt. And Platt goes down to the 11-yard line. Jim Chris made the stop. for Florida. Clock running now, 30 seconds left. The Gators have one more chance to win a game. That will be next week against Miami. For Bobby Bowden, he'll be watching Nebraska and Oklahoma tomorrow. Fighting. Down to the 1. And the clock will run out. So that's the final gun. And Florida State wraps up an unbeaten season and completes their 15th consecutive win. We'll be back with a final word after this. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. More people fly United to Hawaii than any other airline. Once again, the final score, Florida State 27, Florida 16. Jim Lampley along with Lee Grosskopf. This has been a presentation of Deleted, ABC Sports, bringing you exclusive coverage when the world comes to America this February for the 1980 Winter Olympics. He'll be going shortly to Houston. Vern Lundquist and